After the first semester closing ceremony, Manamichi Nagoro is called to the faculty room. His teacher cheerfully asks him to run an errand for the first time. Surprising him since he's always been top of the class and never expected to be singled out, he hesitantly admits he feels a little old for errands. His homeroom teacher, Satomi Kamada, tells him she sees all students as kids. She playfully scolds him for how he treats ladies, pointing out she's young enough to pass as his peer. Despite her baby face and short stature, the students call her Little Kuma. She's the only teacher he finds hard to handle. Satomi explains the errand involves summer break and remedial lessons, which help students catch up so they don't have to repeat the semester. She clarifies that remedial classes are for those who failed classes this semester, and students usually sign up themselves. She then asks Nagoro directly about his errand. Satomi reveals the errand: delivering daily assignments to students, especially one who likely won't attend remedial classes. She stresses the importance of making sure the assignments are turned in. Nagoro protests loudly, questioning why he has to do it, but she reminds him he owes her a favor. He sighs in reluctant acceptance as she smiles mischievously. Manamichi Nagoro reflects on the recent end-of-term test, realizing his all-nighter studying university entrance exam questions backfired. He admits to a careless mistake caused by lack of sleep. Forgetting to write his name on the test paper, Satomi Kamada, his Japanese teacher, lets it slide this time but firmly reminds him he owes her a favor. Nagoro wonders if Kamada is cashing in on that favor now. She casually shrugs off the question and asks if he's busy during summer break. He admits to summer classes and cram school, confirming it's all studying. She probes about his hobbies, recalling he said he had none during self-introductions, and wonders if he's a secret otaku. He denies it, insisting he just studies. Kamada praises Nagoro's diligence and asks if he actually likes studying. He hesitates, caught off guard, and begins to explain. Flashing back to childhood, Nagoro recalls how his mother forced him to study. Not out of hatred but obligation, he was never allowed to do anything else, so studying became all he had left. Eventually, he stopped wanting to do anything at all. Nagoro admits he wouldn't say he likes studying, prompting Kamada to grin and say this errand will be good for him too. He wonders what she means. Feeling uneasy, Kamada then cheerfully promises some good news, but Nagoro protests, demanding to know what it is. Kamada hands Nagoro a paper and explains he'll be delivering work to someone named Makura. Nagoro notes the name sounds feminine and realizes the person lives alone. Kamada warns no late-night study sessions and encourages them to get along. Nagoro is shocked and questions if it's really okay for a teacher to suggest that, but Kamada insists and counts on him starting tomorrow. The next day, after finishing summer classes, Nagoro picks up remedial homework from Kamada and heads to Makura's place. He admits he came because he had no choice and stands before the building, confirming it should be the right place. Climbing the stairs, Nagoro thinks about wanting to get this over with and go home. While recalling Makura as a shut-in, he nervously hopes she's someone he can actually talk to. Standing before her door, he steels himself and decides to go ahead and try anyway. Manamichi Nagoro rings the doorbell and nervously introduces himself, saying he came to deliver summer homework. A voice tells him to just put it in the mailbox, but he flinches and insists on handing it over personally. Explaining he has things to explain, he worries because she skips remedial classes and might not check her mailbox. Nagoro pleads for a moment as the door clicks, and he waits anxiously. Minutes pass. 10, 5, then 2. While he sweats in the heat, growing frustrated at how slow she is, he decides to practice vocabulary while waiting. Suddenly, the door creaks open. A cute girl appears, thanking him warmly for bringing her homework. Nagoro is caught off guard, surprised by her sudden appearance. Shocked, he thinks to himself that a seriously cute girl just came out. He asks if she knows him, but she says this is their first meeting. He doubts he'd forget such a pretty girl after one encounter. She shyly confirms her identity as Makura. Both girls eagerly ask which homework is hers, while Nagoro stammers in response. She quickly takes the homework from him, thanking him warmly and waving goodbye with a bright smile. He stands stunned outside as the door slams shut. Realizing she was so fast he never got to explain the homework. He reflects on her name, Makura. As days pass, each visit, she responds with perfect politeness. A flawless, super polite service that impresses him deeply. She always greets him in cute casual clothes, skillfully steering conversations with smooth social grace and sending him off with a flawless smile. He marvels at how someone so well-liked and put together could live as a shut-in. Yet, every visit he faces a 10-minute wait outside in the heat, which frustrates him. Despite this, he accepts it since all he does at cram school is study. Suddenly, the door opens again, catching his attention. Manamichi Nagoro apologizes for getting in the delivery man's way, who politely assures him it's no problem. Observing the delivery man walking away, Nagoro realizes someone must have ordered a package. He notices a large box placed right in front of Makura-Kwaro's residence and wonders if she ordered something so big. As he stands there, the sound of a door clicking open catches his attention, prompting him to look up in surprise. Makura struggles to carry a heavy box, grimacing and panting as she tries to pull it. Exhausted, she admits it's so heavy she'll have to drag it instead. Manamichi watches nervously as she slides the box inside. Thinking the pajamas she's wearing must be Makura's, he feels like he's seeing something he really shouldn't. Manamichi rushes up the stairs, startled to find Makura sitting on the floor. He stammers, asking why she's there, insisting he had a reason. He just happened to bring the homework. Makura nervously offers the homework. Embarrassed to be seen like this, he admits he doesn't know what to say, caught off guard by the situation. Makura apologizes for looking sloppy, admitting she totally let her guard down since she's usually always super dressed up when he sees her. Manamichi's heart races as he realizes she must have been dressing before coming out. He reassures her she didn't have to get ready just for him and that she looks fine in pajamas. Makura anxiously asks if he's really okay with her looking so messy and not cute at all. Manamichi worries if he was out of line. Noting nobody really wants to be seen in pajamas, especially girls, he quickly tells her to forget that and that she should wear whatever she likes. He insists she doesn't have to worry about him at all, trying to comfort her with a sincere smile. She laughs brightly and thanks him, catching him off guard when he asks why she thanked him just now. She coyly calls it a secret and brushes off his confusion. He nervously asks if she really does the homework he brings her, trying to confirm. As she starts to leave, he urgently calls her back, banging on the door and pleading to talk. She protests, telling him not to look as he awkwardly tries to close the door, embarrassed by the situation. The scene shifts to her room, cluttered with messy stacks of manga, untouched homework, sweets, cup noodles, and a game left running. Both stare in disbelief at the chaotic setup. She admits it's her ultimate messy setup, caught red-handed. He questions if she's actually having fun in this mess, and she boldly confirms, determined to enjoy her summer break in pajamas no matter what. She challenges him to picture it for himself, confidently embracing her carefree choice. She revels in her perfect summer break, sleeping whenever she wants, reading manga, playing games, and doing whatever she pleases. Wearing pajamas at home every day, going nowhere, and living the dream feels like the best summer break ever. He finally understands what Makura is really like. Her carefree attitude and reluctance about extra lessons surprise him. Though she always seemed put together, her true self is far more relaxed. He admits he's just the guy delivering her homework, so it doesn't matter to him, but he questions her attendance credits. She laughs off his concern, admitting she skipped way too much. She explains she's enjoying games and manga too much to care, and the way she goes all out on what she loves impresses him. Makura really is something else, showing guts and embracing her passions. When asked if Kamada said something about him, he awkwardly explains she told him to drop off her homework and check on him. He realizes Kamada worried he might be holed up and depressed, but she seems lively and a bit of a worrywart. He promises not to tell the teacher, insisting it's summer break and there's no need to drag him back to boring school. She beams with excitement, thrilled by his understanding and the freedom of their summer. She pokes him playfully, calling him out by name and saying he totally gets it. While he reacts with surprise and confusion, he denies ever claiming to be good at studying, though the homework praises him as the smartest in their grade. She grins mischievously, saying she just says whatever she wants. He questions if that's wrong, and she insists she seriously respects him for it, admiring his dedication despite school being boring. She asks if he actually likes studying, and he hesitates, admitting he doesn't. When asked if he has any future ambitions, he replies no. Feeling unsure about his path, she laughs, saying she's probably weird for enjoying so many things too much. He reflects on having no real goals and just studying all the time, thinking he's honestly boring. She smirks and suddenly suggests he should just skip school too if it's boring, surprising him. Then she hints there's something more important she wants to share. Standing together in the hallway, she offers to teach him her secret to being super lazy. Asking if he wants to know, he questions the secret to being lazy, looking both curious and uneasy as she smiles warmly, ready to reveal her unconventional wisdom. He reflects on being chained to studying his whole life, doing what he likes every day. Yet here he is, since childhood all he did was study. She steps up smiling, telling him he can just be lazy and sleep whenever he wants, greeting him warmly. She invites him to slack off together, catching him off guard with the unexpected offer. His heart races in disbelief at receiving such an invite, staring up at the sky, speechless. He wonders what he'll do, realizing slacking off is the opposite of his usual life. Maybe with her, he could change his boring self. He asks how to slack off anyway. As the summer break begins with this mysterious girl, Makura-Kwaro, in her pajamas. A girl boldly asks Manamichi if he wants to slack off together, presenting a difficult proposal to the diligent boy. She wonders what he'll do, suggesting maybe if it's with her, he could change his boring self. He hesitantly questions how to even slack off. She grins and pokes him, agreeing to teach him how to slack off. She invites him over tomorrow after she cleans her room. He accepts, surprised when she hands him something, promising they'll enjoy summer their way, more than anyone else. She reaches out her hand, urging him to promise. He swallows nervously but agrees with a firm handshake. She reminds him they'll still do homework, though he groans in reluctant acceptance as the sun shines down on their meeting. The next day, a woman yells at Manamichi for quitting summer classes. Accusing him of delinquency, he nervously denies it, explaining the class level doesn't fit him and he plans to self-study. Others whisper, shocked at the rumor. He internally admits he's going to slack off at Makura's, though it's a gray area since they'll be studying too, leaving him anxious as the scene closes. Manamichi is asked how Makura Quaro seemed, and he hesitantly replies she was okay. He reflects on her energy and friendliness, but notes her mix of informal and formal speech felt unnatural, like an act. He realizes she spends every day in pajamas and didn't want him to report her situation, so he keeps it vague. Satomi Kamada probes if Manamichi learned that his studying is actually at Makura's place. Flustered, he panics, wondering if he said too much. Satomi smirks knowingly as he reacts with shock. Satomi teasingly remarks that Manamichi and Makura are getting along better than expected. Manamichi quickly insists he's just studying there. Nothing sketchy? Satomi agrees to inform the summer course teacher about his withdrawal, but reminds him to pick up Makura's assignments. She grins, but he thinks she doesn't understand the real situation. Manamichi reluctantly accepts the arrangement. Satomi urges them to come back next semester as a pure couple and to stop worrying about weird stuff. Manamichi flinches at her teasing. As he walks away, he acknowledges why Satomi was shocked and mentally prepares himself. Slacking off officially starts today. He wonders how a guy who only came daily to drop off assignments ended up being let into her room. She snaps at him to come back next semester as a totally pure couple. He shakes nervously, insisting he's just there for homework and slacking off. Nothing indecent. The doorbell rings, and he nervously announces himself as Nagoro. The door creaks open, and a voice tells him to wait a moment. She yawns, greeting him sleepily and welcoming him inside. He notices her just woke up a little before he arrived. She gestures for him to come in and make himself at home. Mentioning how hot it is outside, he hesitantly agrees to enter. Manamichi steps into the room, marveling at how spotless it is. Satomi smiles brightly, pleased with his reaction as he looks around in surprise. She apologizes for having tidied up, explaining the mess was only temporary. He insists he usually keeps it clean, while she cheerfully claims a comfy life starts with a comfy home. Though she admits she wouldn't know, he thanks her sincerely. Satomi invites him to sit anywhere he likes, suggesting the bed or wherever he wants. He hesitates but complies, sitting down with a relieved sigh. He quietly notes this is his first time in a girl's room, feeling a bit shy. Alone on the bed, he notices how cute her room is and how it smells softly like fabric softener. His hand grips the bed nervously as he recalls the teacher's words about becoming a pure couple, imagining the possibility with a mix of hope and embarrassment. He quickly shouts away his wandering thoughts, flustered and trying to regain composure. Manamichi sits on the bed, trying to distract himself. He nervously insists he's just here to check Makura's assignment, not to think weird thoughts. Feeling something under him, he pulls at a handkerchief and panics as Makura bursts in, shouting for him not to touch it. Manamichi holds up the delicate underwear in shock as Makura rushes at him, wielding a spatula. He quickly dodges her attack, both flustered and alarmed by the escalating situation. His inner struggle returns as the lustful thoughts come back despite his efforts to stay pure. He grimaces, overwhelmed by the awkwardness of the moment. Satomi timidly asks if he saw the underwear, and he wonders if he can pretend he didn't. She admits it's her fault for not cleaning properly. Makura sternly warns him not to look again or he'll have to pay a fine. Manamichi protests the fine is too harsh, blaming his carelessness. He resolves to hide the underwear for now, overwhelmed by the realization of what a girl's room is really like. Manamichi questions if he can survive in this room as Makura offers him tea with a warm smile, apologizing for the hectic start. He insists he's the one intruding and apologizes for causing fuss. She hands him today's assignment with a deep bow, and he thanks her quietly. He turns with his drink, about to say something more. Makura begins making tea but quickly declares that's not all right. Sliding the kettle back, she stares silently, overwhelmed by the homework, and groans she wants to skip it. Manamichi firmly says she can't, warning she'll be held back otherwise. He offers to teach her the parts she doesn't understand, tapping the table. She protests that wasn't the plan, accusing him of coming just to slack off. He admits he did want to learn about slacking off and suggests setting homework aside for now. Manamichi invites her to slack off today, encouraging her to relax and release tension. She commands him to repeat after her, causing him to awkwardly comply. He zones out, feeling his strength melt away and sinking into comfort, wondering when he last felt this relaxed. She hands him a game controller, inviting him to play. Makura cheerfully suggests playing a game together. Manamichi admits he's never played games before, prompting her to question if he's even human. Satomi praises his academic comeback. She gestures for him to sit beside her on the floor, patting the spot. He hesitates but agrees to watch her play, realizing this is a new experience for him. His eyes widen in shock at the sight of her. He notices her big eyes and long lashes, then the straight nose bridge and soft-looking lips. His gaze drifts lower, catching the pajamas with all kinds of revealing gaps, sparkling with delicate frills. Overwhelmed, he stammers that she's too close, his face flushed and tense. She yells at him to stop looking away from the screen as he admits he's stuck on a part of the game. He apologizes for zoning out, and she scolds him for not paying attention. She insists they're playing a puzzle-heavy action RPG and tells him to watch the next part carefully. He tries to focus, telling himself to quit thinking weird thoughts and get it together. The game shows a character lost in a maze dungeon, with clean graphics impressing them both. They realize they're stuck because a rock blocks the way. He senses there must be a hint nearby. She agrees enthusiastically, and he spots a sun symbol on a rock they passed earlier. He wonders if they can move the rock, but she doubts the dark-colored ones will budge. He suggests pushing it from the left side, and a tense moment follows as he tries. The rock suddenly shifts with a loud crack, surprising them both. She excitedly points out the sun symbol again and explains that pushing the rock toward the sun's direction made it move. The path opens, and she praises him as amazing. He blushes, clearly pleased but still a bit overwhelmed by the praise. Manamichi reflects that when she's passionate about something, she truly shines, though she can be hard to read. Seeing her happy like this makes him glad. They cheer to keep their momentum going, but he worries about their assignments. She reminds him they're slacking off today and jokes about winning the National Lazybones Championship, which he finds shameful. The next day, she happily enjoys cup noodles, praising their laziness. They recall playing until his cram time the day before, and she wonders what to do that afternoon, feeling summer's warmth finally kicking in. Suddenly, he sternly reminds Makura she has a mission. Homework. She sparkles with enthusiasm but questions if it's slack-off time. He grips his fist, frustrated, accusing her of nagging about homework yesterday and today, all homework. She protests it's not time yet and promises to do it eventually. She argues that what matters more is whether to slack off or do homework, a line he's never heard before. He warns that if she keeps putting off homework and gets lost in games, she'll miss deadlines. She admits even a long summer break eventually ends, while he clenches his fist, determined. The harsh reality of summer homework hits hard as he clenches his fist, declaring the dreaded task must start early with buffer time. She collapses in frustration, shouting that an endless summer reset will never happen. He watches her, knowing why she still can't begin. She yawns, explaining how any pressure to hurry kills her motivation, boldly proclaiming this as the truth behind the summer homework theory. He questions if studying is only done because someone commands it. While she wonders if anyone ever enjoyed studying under such pressure, silence falls between them. He sits alone, confronted by a stern woman who warns that reading such things won't help his future. She advises him to focus on real studying, leaving him to quietly accept her words. Reflecting on her message, he admits he kept studying just because he was told to, never finding it fun. She explains slack off means avoiding what you dislike, while doing what you want is true freedom. He realizes that's why Makura seems so dazzling. She chooses for herself and follows her own path. Manamichi freezes in shock as Makura grins mischievously, holding up a pajama set and teasing him about a private pajama fashion show. He stammers in disbelief, overwhelmed by her boldness. She stands confidently in her pajamas, daring him to react. Manamichi protests, questioning the idea of a fashion show, insisting she doesn't have that many pajamas. Makura cheerfully confirms she owns more pajamas than she can count, revealing her room cluttered with various pajamas. She explains she buys every good pair she sees, while he admits he only has a few sweats, baffled by her collection. Curious, Manamichi asks how she manages without going outside for food. Makura happily explains that modern technology solves this problem. She orders fresh fish and vegetables delivered right to her doorstep. She admits she only wears the same pajamas to sleep and has no other loungewear, which explains her vast collection. Manamichi questions the logic of constantly changing clothes while staying home, but Makura insists pajamas are essential for comfort day and night. She dramatically flops onto the floor, declaring pajamas the best thing ever, while Manamichi watches with a mix of disbelief and amusement, wondering why she asks with such an earnest expression. Makura insists he shouldn't mind and eagerly asks if he wants to see the fashion show. Manamichi nervously hesitates, Reminding himself he's a guy and they're alone, she cheerfully assures him she doesn't mind showing him, catching him off guard. Manamichi awkwardly agrees to her offer. Secretly hoping to check out her wardrobe, Makura excitedly promises to be right back to change. While he worries if she'll really change right there, he panics internally, scolding himself for thinking the worst. Manamichi tries to calm himself with deep breaths as Makura slips behind a door to change. Hearing the sounds makes his imagination run wild, and he cringes in embarrassment, overwhelmed by his own thoughts. Suddenly, she calls out apologizing for the wait. Makura dramatically reveals her new outfit with a bright smile. Striking a pose, Manamichi shields his eyes, overwhelmed by the dazzling sight and unable to look directly at her. Manamichi watches, awestruck, as Makura appears like a fairy tale character walking through a sunlit forest. She excitedly explains the velour fabric and frilly collar of her outfit. Asking if he thinks she looks cute, he stammers, overwhelmed, unable to look directly at her. Manamichi awkwardly admits the outfit is pretty. Though he struggles to say it aloud, Makura challenges his hesitation and grins mischievously, promising to try something completely different. He worries about what she'll wear next as she dramatically announces her return. Makura reappears in a shark onesie, playfully acting like a shark and teasing Manamichi for checking it out earlier. He nervously points out the shark seems to have eaten her, prompting her to demand a compliment and question why she wore it. She proudly shows off the cute tail and fin on her back, energizing the room. Manamichi blushes furiously. Shocked to see her belly exposed, Makura cheers, ready to grab the next outfit as he admits, flustered, that it's pretty good. She shows off a classic plaid pajama set, saying it's close to her usual style and hard to beat. He agrees it looks relaxing and imagines her playing video games in it. Next, she models a fluffy striped sweater set. Praising its soft texture, he blushes, wishing he could touch it but knows he can't. She then reveals her middle school tracksuit, explaining it's easy to move in. He admits it looks like it was made for her, but internally struggles with how good she looks even in baggy clothes. She cheerfully acknowledges trying on many outfits, promising the next will be the last. He comments the pajamas suit her well, while she insists she's very into fashion despite his surprise at how many she owns. She holds up a frilly dress, and he awkwardly asks if she really never goes outside. His face tightens with worry as he wonders if his question was too harsh. She remains silent, leaving him uneasy. She smiles softly, admitting she used to go out and enjoyed it more back then. She explains she can't fully enjoy her time without looking good. Even if she's home most of the time, he reflects quietly, growing more curious about why she became a shut-in, though he hesitates to ask. She decides to stop trying on outfits, saying she's already tried enough. He notices sadness flicker across her face, recalling how much fun she was having moments ago. Determined, he insists she should try the last outfit. Surprised, she asks why, and he nervously explains that since the others looked good, it would be a shame not to see her final choice. She stammers, overwhelmed by his insistence and the weight of the moment. He eagerly insists she should have said sooner if she wanted to show her pajamas. Thinking she was bored of them, she panics and rushes off, promising to be back quickly. He sighs, relieved she cheered up but still puzzled why she avoids the outside world. Then he smiles, realizing she probably wanted to share her collection with someone. He wonders if the person she showed them to is a close friend or maybe a boyfriend. Recalling that pajamas are usually private, she returns, excited, and reveals her final outfit. Asking if it looks sexy and mature, he braces himself, caught off guard. She notices his flushed face and asks why he's blushing. He stammers, denying any reason. She teases him about loving her pajamas so much, but he tries to deflect. He questions why she wouldn't even want to show her pajamas to a boyfriend first, making her pause in thought. She stammers, overwhelmed by the word boyfriend. Blushing deeply, he nervously denies understanding what she means, insisting it's fine for fellow slackers to see them. She laughs, surprised there's such a thing as a slacker fellowship, then urges him to check out her final outfit. She slips out of her jacket, revealing a different, more alluring pajama set, and asks if this one is different from all the others. Both freeze, blushing intensely, caught off guard by the sudden reveal. Silence hangs between them as she nervously explains she chose this one because she lacked many black pajamas, admitting it might be a bit big on her. Flustered, she quickly insists she needs to change back and hurriedly shuts the door behind her. He reflects on the comfort and style pajamas provide, picturing her in various cozy and stylish sets, admiring the exquisite views they offer. Overwhelmed, he wonders aloud if pajamas might actually be the best thing ever, while a chibi version of her joyfully floats above them all. A few days later, he sits at his desk, frustrated and unable to focus on studying. despite repeated attempts to concentrate. His mind wanders, and he sighs, putting down his pen in defeat. His mind drifts to memories with Makura. Reading manga, playing video games, and more. He wonders if this is the cost of slacking off and catches himself feeling excited about tomorrow. The pen rolls off his desk as he stares at his open textbook, knowing he must study. Doubt gnaws at him. He admits he lacks a goal and questions why he even has to study. The struggle feels new and exhausting, keeping him awake at night. Outside, the sun shines on the quiet apartment building as he lets out a frustrated cry. Satomi notices his frequent yawns and asks if he's staying up late studying. He hesitates, unsure if his troubles stem from their time together, but denies it. She reassures him it's nothing to worry about, though his uneasy glance and rubbing his eye betray his inner conflict. Makura gently offers a game controller and invites him to take a nap. He questions where, noting sleeping on the floor is bad manners. She softly insists it's all right, sliding her hand over the floor beside him, her expression tender yet concerned. She softly offers the bed, inviting him to use it. His eyes widen in surprise and confusion, caught off guard by her gentle gesture. She softly tells him he can use the bed, her voice gentle but firm. He looks toward her, surprised and uncertain, as she waits expectantly beside the bed covered with manga volumes. His face flushes deeply, sweat forming as he struggles to respond. She tilts her head, questioning his silence with a gentle, puzzled expression. She wonders if he means to lie down in her bed, the same one she always sleeps in. He quickly refuses, worried about imposing and insisting he'll pass, though she tries to convince him otherwise. His nervous smile hides his discomfort, while she puffs her cheeks in a playful pout. She suddenly strikes the bed with forceful whacks, demanding he shut up and get in, insisting that good rest is essential for slacking off. He contemplates the idea of a nap, admitting he's never really needed one before, but decides a short rest couldn't hurt if she's serious. He lies back on the bed, exhaling softly as he surrenders to the moment. He lies back, noticing the bed smells like her shampoo and feels incredibly fluffy. She reassures him not to worry, mentioning she has her video games to keep her occupied. He thanks her softly before drifting off, comforted by her gentle smile telling him to get all the sleep he needs. The sound of cheerful music stirs him awake, and he realizes the ceiling above isn't his own. Remembering he's napping at Makura Kwaro's place, he decides to sleep a little longer, rolling over to rest his head on her. He feels the softness and warmth of her close embrace, calming him deeply. His hand instinctively wraps around her, wanting to hold on to the comforting moment. The sensation is so soothing he could keep hugging her forever. Stretching with a satisfied sigh, he admits the nap was quite nice and that he overslept a bit. Glancing outside, he's shocked to see the sun setting. Panic rises as he quickly throws off the covers, exclaiming there's no way so much time has passed. The clock shows 18:26, shocking him that it's already 6:30. He panics, realizing he usually studies at this hour and wonders how many hours he slept. He hurriedly tells Makura he has no time and didn't mean to sleep so long, but then he notices her presence behind him and freezes. Startled, he stammers as she asks if he was sleeping here too. She admits seeing him sleep made her sleepy, so she took the edge of the bed. He protests, but she gently reaches out to hold his hand. Their hands touch closely, and she looks at him with a soft expression. He nervously meets her gaze, while Satomi, blushing deeply, gasps quietly. Satomi apologizes, explaining she's still half asleep. He processes that they slept together in one bed, and she shyly confirms it. He awkwardly accepts this, recalling the soft feeling of the hug he was holding onto as he drifted off. Manamichi panics internally, fearing that if Satomi finds out they slept together, their trust will be destroyed forever. Satomi nervously asks if he did what she thinks, while he tries to stop himself from thinking about it. She apologizes for the coupley thing, and insists it's her fault for getting into bed after him. He reassures her not to worry, saying a long nap is the best way to slack off. Satomi feels bad for letting him in and only sleeping, but he tells her not to worry. Suddenly, she excitedly tells him to check something out, catching his attention. Satomi smiles warmly as she draws the curtain aside, revealing a stunning sunset. She comments on the beautiful sunset, and Manamichi gazes at it silently, clearly moved. They stand together watching the sunset, with Manamichi reflecting that he never stopped to enjoy the view before due to pressure from his parents and studies. Satomi agrees it's beautiful and says it's nice to stop and take in the view sometimes. She suddenly asks if he's missing cram school, but he reassures her he's not skipping, explaining he arrives early to use the study lounge since classes start later. She jokes about him being a delinquent for skipping school, and he laughs, acknowledging her observation. Satomi cheerfully thanks him, saying she feels better and can focus on her studies tonight. Manamichi admits he should get going. Though part of him wants to relax longer, she looks at him with concern. Urging him not to work too hard, he sighs quietly, and she softly calls his name, reminding him gently to take care of himself. A stern voice commands Manamichi not to fall behind in his studies, warning him that if he's not first, he's last. Memories flash of a woman urging him to focus, a young Manamichi sitting with a math book, and him studying diligently. The voice insists that if he has time to rest and play, he also has time to study, or he'll regret it later. Manamichi questions if he works too hard, admitting he's unsure since he always followed orders. He reflects on learning that resting isn't wrong after all. Turning to Makura, he thanks her and promises to try. They recall how slacking off started, but he now understands the value of rest. Manamichi smiles, admitting he's starting to relax a bit. Makura encourages him not to push himself too much, emphasizing rest is crucial to slacking off. He thanks her sincerely, promising to see her tomorrow. She waves happily in agreement. Makura stands silently, then closes the door behind her. She lies down on her bed, feeling the warmth still present. She breathes out softly, rubbing her hand on the bed, savoring the lingering warmth. She lies sprawled on the bed, anxiously asking if she acted normally and if he suspected anything. Her cheeks flush as she admits they ended up sleeping in the same bed together. She insists it wasn't her fault, blaming sleepy demons for luring her in, unable to stop him. Watching him sleep peacefully, she notes how good he's having it and feels sleepy herself. She sees there's enough room since he's moved to the side. Smiling, she prepares to close her eyes and rest but suddenly worries she might have woken him. Suddenly, he wraps his arms around her from behind, startling her. She gasps in shock, unable to believe what's happening. She panics internally, telling him not to touch her stomach because she's gained weight. Her heart races as she tries to quietly wriggle free without waking him. Realizing this situation is definitely very bad, she freezes in shock as his hand suddenly grabs her chest, her face flushing deeply while she tries to pull away quietly, panicking over the unexpected touch. Her mind races in disbelief, realizing he actually grabbed her chest. He remains asleep, holding her close, warm and peaceful. She wonders how to escape without waking him, conflicted by the awkwardness if he realized what he did. Despite her anxiety, she admits it doesn't feel all that bad, her fingers gently clasping his hand. She recalls waking up before him, surprised they were still lying side by side. She couldn't tell him he was hugging her, so she laughed it off, but he called it a coupley thing. Implying he felt the same way, embarrassment and realization flood her thoughts. Overwhelmed, she flails and falls back onto the bed, calling the moment the most embarrassing thing ever. Yet she admits it was a really good nap and wonders if she should ask him to hold her again, though she doubts she'll get much sleep tonight. She clutches a stuffed bear tightly, cheeks flushed with embarrassment as she hugs herself, lost in thought. Outside, the evening sky darkens, and a voice mutters doubtfully, "Yeah, right." The next day, they play video games intensely, with him lamenting another loss and admitting he's nowhere near her skill. She teases him about becoming a slacker, explaining puzzle games and RPGs are like time travel, while fighting games feel the same. Time slipped by unnoticed as they played until sunset. He reflects on how yesterday's awkwardness is faded, and she jokes that he's starting to enjoy a lazy life. Memories of their sleepy, close moments flash by, making him flustered as she reminds him he still hasn't done any homework. He shakes off his awkward thoughts, while she laughs, teasing that her laziness is rubbing off on him. He admits he's been having too much fun playing games with her, unsure if slacking off is good or bad. She points out the importance of resting yesterday. A clock shows the time, and she asks if he's supposed to leave for cram school. But he says there's no class today. She happily suggests skipping class wouldn't be so bad, while he protests skipping regular classes and optional ones too. He explains that if he skips class, the school will call his strict mother, which makes sense to her. He admits this is why he prefers studying in a classroom or the study lounge rather than at home. She reacts with understanding and surprise. He acknowledges that's just how it is and says he should head to the study lounge now, though part of him doesn't want to go when there's no class. But he also doesn't want to overstay his welcome. She looks thoughtful, then he suddenly stops and calls out for her to wait. Concerned, he asks what's wrong, and she hesitates before nervously suggesting that if he has nothing to do, he should stay over. He reacts with shock and disbelief at the idea of staying over, while she insists, pointing out he said he has no class today. She encourages him to stay over so he can keep slacking off. Teasing that she still has more games to play, he panics internally, recalling that sleeping together was already awkward enough, and now she wants him to stay over? She looks at him with sparkling eyes, asking him to reconsider, while he is overwhelmed and flustered. He nervously asks if he can really stay over, doubting her words, but she insists they're both slackers, He reasons that if he tells his mom he's studying with someone from cram school, she won't complain. Reluctantly, he agrees to stay over, and she happily welcomes him. She then glances at the time, noting it's late, and asks if they should keep playing or have dinner. She contemplates the many choices ahead with a playful smile, while he thinks to himself that it'll just be the two of them in this small space. Her pajamas reveal a teasing glimpse, adding to the intimate atmosphere. He swallows hard, overwhelmed by the situation, and wonders if he'll survive this night. The room is cozy, with instant noodles and drinks on the table, and she sits comfortably, clearly enjoying herself as he stands uncertainly. He decides to text his mom about staying over. While she happily agrees, he glances at his phone, realizing he'll be spending the whole night with a girl who is way too careless. Anxiety hits him hard as he wonders if he'll survive this night. He types out a message explaining he's studying with a friend from cram school and will spend the night there. Though he admits he's never had a close friend like that before, she asks if he told his mom, and he nervously confirms. Asking again if he can really stay, she enthusiastically cheers to veg out like never before, lifting his spirits despite his hesitation. She playfully asks if he wants dinner, supper, or a meal, teasing that there's not much choice. Noticing the time, he agrees it's about dinner time, and she excitedly promises to whip something up, surprising him with her energy. He questions if she can cook, pointing out that housework seems the opposite of lazy, but she confidently says she cooks for herself at night. He panics at the thought of her making him cook too, while she gleams with determination to show him the ultimate lazy meal. She puts on an apron despite his protests about dirtying her pajamas, ready to prove her cooking skills. She proudly shows off her pajama apron. Asking if he likes it and if he's feeling enticed, he stammers, calling it very domestic, and questions if she thinks she looks like a housewife. She laughs it off, but he insists that's not quite it. She explains this is the next level of domesticity. Pure laziness, just throwing something together in 5 minutes because you have to. He's shocked it wasn't a compliment, and she mockingly demands her honeymoon vibes back. She shoves him toward the living room, ordering him to wait while she finishes cooking, and he reluctantly agrees. Alone, he scratches his head, admitting the situation feels very couple-like. Sitting on the floor, he offers to help since she might take a while. His gaze sharpens as he contemplates the moment. Then he picks up the remote to see what's on TV, noting he's mostly watched the news before. A music program plays, showing a rock band performing. He claps, impressed by the song, but his attention shifts as his phone starts buzzing non-stop. He wonders if it's Makura's phone and notices it's blowing up, only to realize the call has ended abruptly. Manamichi opens the door to Makura, who cheerfully announces she's almost done cooking. He's surprised it's only been 10 minutes, but she laughs, saying that's the point of a lazy meal. You don't want to take forever cooking. Her expression suddenly darkens, and he asks what's wrong. She points out she forgot to clean the table, and he offers to help, noticing her phone was going off on the bed. He asks if she needed him for something. She wonders who could be calling just then, but their conversation is cut off by a loud, persistent doorbell ringing. Both look startled by the unexpected noise. Manamichi admits the doorbell nearly gave him a heart attack, and Makura says she'd never open the door to someone ringing like that. She reassures him she knows who it is and is used to it, probably because they've been drinking. She tells him to lie low for a minute, promising to close the living room door and hide his shoes. Urging him to stay quiet, he hesitantly agrees as she heads toward the door, waving goodbye and promising to be right back. Alone, Manamichi nervously wonders who could be at the door, thinking it can only be one of 3 people. A parent, a relative, or maybe someone else. He swallows hard, recalling that Makura wouldn't want to show off her pajama apron to just anyone. His imagination runs wild, picturing a jealous couple accusing him of being a boyfriend. Despite his panic, he resolves to stay quiet as she instructed, sitting alone in the room with a tense expression. A loud roar shatters the silence as someone yells, "Quaro, you got a guy over." Manamichi cringes, clutching his head, overwhelmed by the noise that lasted only 5 seconds. He wonders how this fits with her promise to hide his shoes. The woman in the apron laughs nervously, questioning why he'd say such a thing. She points out the 2 bowls on the counter, teasing him about a rookie mistake. The girl inside, confused, asks what he means by a guy. The woman insists it's just a friend from school, not what he thinks. She asks when he last went to school, pressing him. Suddenly, a determined figure stomps away, and Manamichi calls after her, alarmed, "Wayako-chan, where are you going?" He panics as she slams the door, realizing she's heading his way and wondering if he should hide. Their eyes meet with a sharp glare, tension thick in the air. The woman stands firmly in the doorway, holding a can of beer, while Manamichi looks up at her, frozen. The silence stretches, the weight of the moment pressing down on them both. The woman's intense stare continues, making Manamichi tremble in place, overwhelmed by the unexpected attention. The girl in the apron nervously urges her, "Come on, Yako-chan." The woman's clenched fist trembles as tears begin to fall. Sobbing quietly, Manamichi and the apron-clad girl exchange confused glances, both unsure what to make of the sudden emotional shift. The woman bursts into tears, wailing that she can't believe he has a boyfriend now. The girl in the apron comforts her gently, asking what's wrong as the woman hiccups and sniffs. The night air hangs heavy outside the building as the woman continues to cry, her head patted softly. The woman admits she showed up at the door with a can of beer because he dumped her. Manamichi thinks this is an unusual sight. The apron-clad girl reassures her, telling her not to say that. While the woman laments she messed it all up again, she clings to the girl like a little sister, who looks like a big sister right now. The girl confidently tells the woman she knows she'll find the right person eventually. The woman asks if she's sure. Clutching the girl tightly, Manamichi internally panics, thinking he doesn't even know her and decides to just nod along. The woman wipes her tears, calling the girl sweet and simple. Manamichi asks to be filled in, and the girl introduces the woman as Yako-chan, a friend of hers, Yako-chan, holding a can of beer, greets him as the breakup queen. Manamichi notes she made a scary first impression but actually seems nice, just a little rough around the edges. Manamichi questions why the girl said friend with a question mark. She nervously explains their relationship is complicated. Not direct friends, but since Yako-chan has been friends with her cousin's sister and they live in the same building. They see each other often. Manamichi asks if they live in the same building, and she confirms. He wonders if that explains why Makura doesn't mind wearing pajamas around her. The girl jokes about not being friend-zone material, and Manamichi apologizes, overwhelmed. The girl points out that Makura lives on the second floor, left side, while she's on the first floor, right side, having moved there because Yako-chan already lived there. Manamichi admits he didn't know. She introduces Manamichi as a friend from school who's been bringing her homework since break started. The others confirm he's super smart, though he modestly denies it. Makura chugs a drink, still surprised Manamichi is over, insisting they're just friends. She stares at him intently, asking why he looks clueless. Manamichi is confused by the question, and she says it's a compliment. He wonders how clueless can be a compliment, but she just smiles and brushes it off. Makura leans in, blushing, telling Manamichi he doesn't look half bad and with a different haircut. He could be a real hunk. She adds no wonder Koira likes him, then shyly asks for his number. Manamichi is shocked, while the girl in the apron looks flustered behind them. Manamichi recoils in shock as Yako-chan suddenly leans in too close, causing him to stammer her name. She teasingly scolds him for being too close. Then Yako-chan bursts out, demanding to know what he's doing in her house. Manamichi tries to explain, but Yako-chan insists he stop hitting on him out of habit. Yako-chan quickly sits down, apologizing for her behavior and praising his protectiveness. Manamichi protests, insisting it's not what it looks like and tries to end the conversation, while Yako-chan playfully calls out to Yako-chan herself, who sits confidently nearby, warning about a time and place. Yako-chan invites Manamichi to have dinner with him, and he eagerly agrees, expressing his hunger. The girl in the apron heads off to get the food, while Yako-chan watches her leave and asks what's wrong. Suddenly, Yako-chan sharply warns them not to talk about her, causing the girl to slam the door behind her. Yako-chan laughs, saying teasing her is fun, while Manamichi nervously agrees. 2 steaming bowls of food are set down, described as the ultimate lazy meal for each of them. Manamichi and Yako-chan admire the meal's appearance, calling Koira a wizard for preparing it. The girl in the apron admits she cut every corner in making it, proudly embracing her laziness. Yako-chan reacts dramatically, questioning if this is what cutting corners means. Manamichi and Yako-chan prepare to eat, with Yako-chan urging him to dig in before the food gets cold. They both say grace, and Manamichi starts eating, cheeks puffed out. Yako-chan also begins eating enthusiastically, her expression showing enjoyment and satisfaction. The ingredients for the dish are revealed. Miso and dobanjiang for the base, soft eggplant and meat with sweet sauce, and the bitterness of peppers to accent the flavor. Manamichi exclaims how delicious it is, amazed it goes down smoothly with beer. The girl in the apron shyly admits it was rushed, but Manamichi insists it's perfectly fine, her eyes wide with surprise and gratitude. The girl explains she just threw together the lowest effort ingredients, rushing the dish, but Manamichi reassures her that simple doesn't mean bad. He admits he's never cooked for a guy before, so this was new for her. He glances at the dish thoughtfully, wondering if he's her first. Manamichi holds the bowl nervously as the girl suggests adding an egg to transform the flavor. He blushes deeply, caught off guard. While the girl eagerly awaits his answer, he agrees enthusiastically, and the other woman smirks knowingly. Suddenly, the girl in the apron stands abruptly, calling out, "Yako-chan!" The woman with the beer warns Manamichi not to become a kept man, no matter how good the cooking is, explaining such types quickly learn to exploit maternal instincts. Manamichi firmly denies it, while the woman slumps down, overwhelmed as a small figure comments on her going off the deep end. The woman urges Yako-chan to rest, reminding her she just got dumped. But Yako-chan fiercely rejects the idea of giving up. The other woman scolds the man for being harsh, while Yako-chan declares she'll drink until she drops. The man calmly suggests she's had enough. Yako-chan excitedly accepts an offer for snacks, expressing affection, and the woman smiles warmly. The man reflects that this is the first time he's had dinner in good company, finding it surprisingly nice. The man sits quietly, noting Makura is in the bath and Yako-san has gone home, finally enjoying the peace. He wonders if all adults behave like that. Recalling a bad example, the woman cheerfully warns him not to do anything he'll regret. But the man insists they won't. He glances at the clock, realizing he'd usually be at cram school now. He marvels at how easily sounds carry in the place as the bath steams. The man taps his fingers, humming softly, imagining Makura singing well. He admits feeling nervous since Makura is bathing nearby. The bath water splashes as Makura washes herself, eyes closed in calm concentration, the scene intimate and quiet. The man pounds the table, declaring this a slacker boot camp and insists he's only here to slack off. He hears a click and realizes Makura is done bathing. His eyes widen in surprise as he notices her silhouette through the door, the steam partially obscuring her figure. Makura Quaro steps out of the bath, clutching a towel to her chest, water droplets glistening on her skin as she adjusts her hair. Her cheeks flushed. Suddenly, the man reacts with a startled shout, stumbling back in shock. Outside, the quiet night surrounds the house, while he struggles inwardly, overwhelmed and unable to keep his composure in this unexpected moment. The boy nervously decides to text his mom about the situation. While the girl cheerfully agrees, he reflects with a flushed face that he'll be spending the whole night with a girl who's way too careless, wondering if he'll survive this. Reading the message aloud, he admits he ended up studying with a friend from cram school and will spend the night there. The girl asks if he told his mom, and he hesitantly confirms. She excitedly suggests they veg out like never before, and he nervously agrees. She playfully offers dinner or a meal, noting it's about dinner time. The boy glances at the clock as she promises to whip something up, surprising him with her enthusiasm. The girl asks if he can cook, claiming she cooks for herself at night and that housework is the opposite of lazy. He protests about cooking for her, but she grins mischievously, promising to show him the ultimate lazy meal. She puts on an apron, though he worries about his pajamas getting dirty. She proudly shows off her pajama apron. Asking how he likes it, he stammers, calling it very domestic, and she teases him about looking like a housewife. He tries to clarify, but she cheekily asks if he's feeling enticed yet. His mental image shifts to her cooking lazily, throwing something together in 5 minutes. She calls it the peak of laziness. While he panics, shocked that it wasn't a compliment, she playfully demands her honeymoon vibes back and orders him to wait in the living room until she's done. He nervously agrees. He sits alone, admitting that all this does feel very couple-like. He wonders if there's anything he can do while she cooks, then decides to check the TV, realizing he mostly watches the news. The TV shows a music program, reminding him it's been a while since he listened to music. As the show introduces a rock band, his phone suddenly buzzes non-stop. He notices it's Makura's phone, but the call ends abruptly. He sighs, noting they hung up. Manamichi opens the door, surprised to see Makura already finished cooking after only 10 minutes. She laughs, explaining that the whole point of a lazy meal is not to take forever cooking. Suddenly, her expression darkens and Manamichi asks what's wrong. Makura points out the table she forgot to clean, and Manamichi offers to help. She notices her phone was ringing on the bed and wonders who it could be just as the doorbell rings repeatedly, startling them both. Manamichi admits the doorbell almost gave him a heart attack and says he'd never open the door to someone ringing like that. Makura says she knows who it is and is used to it by now, probably from drinking too. She tells him to lie low for a minute while she closes the living room door and hides his shoes. Asking him to stay quiet, he reluctantly agrees as she leaves the room. Manamichi's mind races, realizing whoever is outside can't see him and must be one of 3 people. A relative, a parent, or maybe someone else. He imagines Makura introducing him as a boyfriend to a suspicious family. Doubt and anxiety flood him, but he resolves to stay quiet as she instructed. A loud shout pierces the silence. Someone yells, "Quaro, you got a guy over." The boy reels, clutching his head in disbelief, thinking the outburst lasted only 5 seconds. He questions how this could be true since she promised to hide his shoes. The girl, wearing an apron, laughs nervously and points out the rookie mistake of leaving 2 bowls on the counter, implying the cooking was for a guy. Barefoot and hurried, the girl insists it's just a friend from school when asked about the visitor. She stomps away determinedly, declaring she promised to check on someone and will do so. The boy panics internally, wondering who she promised to and whether he should hide as she approaches. The girl slams the door open, her face shadowed and serious as she reaches out with a beer can in hand. The boy freezes, sweat beading on his face as their eyes meet in a tense, silent moment. The girl's intense glare makes the boy tremble, overwhelmed by the stare. She clenches her fist, while the boy sits on the floor, trembling and sweating, unsure of what to do. Tears well up in her eyes, and the boy looks on, confused and anxious, as she calls out to Yako-chan, urging her to come along. Yako-chan bursts into tears, wailing that she can't believe Makura Kwaro has a boyfriend now. She hiccups and sniffles, overwhelmed with emotion. Makura gently comforts her, asking what's wrong. The night sky looms over the quiet apartment building as Yako-chan continues to cry, her sobs echoing. Makura explains to the boy that Yako-chan showed up at her door with a can of beer in hand. He asks if she was dumped, finding the scene unusual. Makura looks older and more mature as she admits she messed things up again, while the boy tries to reassure her not to be so hard on herself. Makura, now acting like a big sister, encourages Yako-chan that she will find the right person eventually. Yako-chan clings to her, nervously asking if she's sure. The boy, confused, wonders why they are asking him since he doesn't even know Yako-chan. He decides to just nod along. Yako-chan wipes her tears, calling Makura sweet and simple. The boy asks to be filled in, and Makura introduces Yako-chan as a friend of hers. Yako-chan, holding a beer can, sarcastically calls herself the breakup queen, despite her rough exterior. The boy notes she seems nice and just a little rough around the edges. The boy questions why Makura said, friend with a question mark, prompting her to nervously explain their relationship is complicated. She reveals Yako-chan has been friends with her cousin's sister, and that since she recently moved in, they see each other often. The boy confirms they live in the same building, and Makura jokes about why she doesn't mind wearing pajamas around Yako-chan. The boy laments not even being friend-zone material, while Makura apologizes. An exterior view shows the apartment layout. Makura lives on the first floor right side, Koira on the second floor left side, and Yako-chan already lived there. Makura explains the boy has been bringing her homework since break started, confirming they know each other from school. She introduces the boy as Nagoro Minamiki, who shyly greets them. Makura chugs her drink, insisting they are just friends. While glaring at the boy, she asks if people often call him clueless, leaving him confused. The boy wonders if that's a compliment, and Makura smiles, saying it is. Makura leans toward the boy, teasing that with a different haircut he could be a real hunk, explaining why Koira likes him. She then boldly asks if he wants to give her his number, leaving the boy stunned and blushing. The boy panics as Yako-chan suddenly pulls him close, making him exclaim her name in shock. She scolds him for being too close. While he tries to explain himself, Yako-chan yells at him to stop and demands to know what he's doing in her house. Makura casually sits nearby, teasing that she started hitting on him out of habit because he was so cute. Yako-chan insists it's not like that and declares the conversation over. Makura mocks Yako-chan's protectiveness, reminding her there's a time and place for everything. Makura invites the boy to have dinner with them, and he eagerly agrees, saying he's starving. As Makura leaves to get the food, Yako-chan suddenly warns them not to talk about her, pointing firmly. After she slams the door, Makura laughs, calling Yako-chan fun to tease, while the boy awkwardly agrees. Steaming bowls of food are served. Dubbed the ultimate lazy meal, the boy and Koira marvel at how amazing it looks, calling Makura a wizard. Makura laughs, insisting she cut every corner like the slacker she is, while Koira is shocked that this counts as cutting corners. The boy and Koira prepare to eat, with Makura urging them to dig in before it gets cold. The boy nervously agrees and starts eating, cheeks puffed as he tastes the food. Makura happily eats alongside him. The ingredients are revealed. Miso, dobanjiang, soft eggplant, meat with sweet sauce and bitter peppers. The boy exclaims how delicious it is. Amazed at how smoothly it goes down with beer, Makura blushes, admitting it was rushed but is glad they like it. The boy reflects on how simple the dish is, but wonders if simple means bad. Makura reassures him it's fine, saying she's never cooked for a guy before. So this was new? The boy thanks her for cooking, glancing at the meal and wondering if he's the first guy she's cooked for. The boy freezes, caught completely off guard as Makura blushes, nervously offering to add an egg to the dish to transform the flavor. Koira eagerly agrees, excited by the suggestion, while the boy stammers in surprise. Yako-chan abruptly stands, shouting her name in frustration, while Koira cheerfully remarks on the boy's youthful reaction. She warns him not to become a kept man. Despite his quick denial, Koira then slumps dramatically, overwhelmed by her own thoughts about maternal instincts and manipulation. Yako-chan is consoled gently by Makura, who tells her to rest after being dumped. Yako-chan protests loudly against the word, dumped, while Koira enthusiastically offers to make snacks. Declaring her love, the boy smiles quietly, reflecting on how nice it is to have dinner in good company. The boy sits alone, relieved now that Makura is in the bath and Yako-chan has gone home. He glances around the quiet apartment, noting the unusual calm and the late hour he would usually be at cram school. He wonders aloud if all adults behave like Makura and Koira, but they firmly deny it. The boy then listens closely to the sounds from the bath, amazed at how clearly every noise carries through the place. The boy hums quietly to himself, tapping his fingers on the table, imagining Makura would be a good singer. He feels nervous, especially knowing Makura is in the bath right now. As she steps out, covered in suds, the water splashes around her feet, and the boy freezes, caught off guard by the intimate moment. Inside the room, the boy pounds the table in frustration, insisting he's only here to slack off, but his intense expression betrays his determination. Suddenly, the door clicks open, and he turns sharply, sensing Makura has finished her bath. His heart races as he hears her approach. Makura appears wrapped in a towel, water dripping from her hair, her flushed face betraying her own tension. The boy struggles to maintain his composure, overwhelmed by the sight. Outside, the quiet night envelopes the apartment, while inside, he battles to keep his cool in this charged moment. The boy struggles to keep calm, telling himself he'll try counting prime numbers as the girl appears at the door. Freshly out of the bath and wrapped only in a towel, his shock is palpable, his face hidden in embarrassment. She cheerfully invites him to use the bath now. He notices her damp hair, flushed cheeks, and the lingering scent of soap, which only deepens his flustered state. She senses his discomfort and asks if something is wrong, but he quickly denies it, trying to steady his pounding heart. She smiles and agrees to take him up on his earlier offer. The girl, still drying herself with a towel, pauses at the door, sensing his nervousness. His embarrassed expression floats in a thought bubble as he silently urges his heart not to fail him now. The boy sits alone in the quiet room, noting how clearly every sound carries through the apartment. He wonders if his face was bright red, then decides to pick out some games to play. Hearing the door click, he realizes she must be done, and he blushes, embarrassed at having been humming to himself. The girl gasps in shock as the boy steps out naked, a towel draped over his shoulder. She notices his decent muscles and wonders if his earlier blush means something. Panic floods her mind as she covers her mouth, realizing she's staring. She blushes deeply, overwhelmed that he saw her too. She tries to calm herself, telling herself not to think about it. While he stands dripping, confused, she calls out a shy welcome as he returns. He explains why he's still in uniform, not expecting to stay over. She rummages through a drawer and offers him a change of clothes. Revealing a giant shark costume, he yells in surprise, but she laughs, sure it would suit him. She quickly clarifies she's joking and shows him 3 oversized outfits to choose from. He hesitates but picks the middle one, questioning if he can have it. She insists their lazy slacker hotel is happy to provide, and he thanks her, promising to be right back. She feels grateful that Manamichi-kun doesn't mind her silly jokes. Realizing she's already shown him her pajamas and even let him stay over, she wonders if he really feels special somehow. Quietly, she admits she's starting to change a little. Maybe because of him. Suddenly, she hears him say he's all done, and she greets him warmly, surprised. He nervously asks if he looks weird in her pajamas. She beams, assuring him it looks great since she's never seen him without his uniform before. They sit together, and she thinks how strange it feels to have a guy wearing her pajamas, almost like they're living together. Her playful teasing causes him to blush deeply. She suggests they should buy him something to wear at her place since he can't really relax in a uniform. He agrees it's fair and admits the pajamas fit well. She excitedly proposes going on a shopping date right now, popping open her laptop to plan. He questions if this can really be called a date, but she insists it is and asks what kind of loungewear he likes. He guesses a tracksuit for indoors, but she encourages him to try something looser, like Little Red Riding Hood pajamas. He doubts such clothes would look good on him, but she disagrees, noting his slightly disheveled hair and handsome face could suit many styles. They look at the laptop together, ready to find something perfect. They browse loungewear online, spotting a stylish jacket that catches their eye. She praises it as snazzy, and he nervously agrees, blushing as she suggests getting a matching one for herself. He tries to hide his own blush, realizing she might see it too, but he can't bring himself to check. He offers her money to cover the purchase, but she insists he shouldn't worry about it. After some back and forth, she accepts the payment with a smile and challenges him to a night of action, handing him a game controller. They dive into gaming, but he quickly gets lost in the dungeon again. Despite the confusion, he admits he hasn't had this much fun in a long time. Their laughter fills the room, and the night feels nostalgic, like a school trip. Their hands accidentally touch, causing a brief pause before they politely insist the other go first. They notice only one snack remains, surprised they finished so quickly. She praises the sweet, milky chocolate on the soft cookie, and they both agree it was an extra good treat. He offers her the last snack, asking if she really wants it. But she insists he's already done too much for her today. She searches for something, then brightens up, revealing a deck of cards with a cheerful tada. She teases him about never having played cards before, but he admits he knows the rules to Old Maid. Excited, she challenges him to a match for the cookie. Confident it's exactly what they need, he quietly contemplates, expecting him to give up easily. He accepts her challenge with a confident smile, and she fires back, warning him not to cry when he loses. She thinks her perfect poker face will secure the win, while he remains calm and unreadable. The clock ticks as they play intensely, both panting from the tension. She notes his stone-cold expression and the fact he holds the joker. Realizing she can't miss this 50-50 chance, she boldly plays a card, shouting, "This one!" As he counters, their match heating up. The joker card is revealed, intensifying the game. She pouts in frustration as he wishes her better luck next time. She insists it's not over, reminding him he could still draw the joker, her eyes pleading as he stares back silently. She nervously wonders why he's staring at her like that, feeling herself crumble under his gaze. He calmly asks if she's going to pull a card, then casually brings up the concept of automatic behaviors. He explains that her habit of glancing at the card she doesn't want him to take gives her away. She's shocked by his insight as he triumphantly declares victory. Tossing down the winning card, she collapses in defeat, overwhelmed, while he asks if this is the first time he's beaten her. He shrugs off the win and offers her the cookie, telling her to do with it as she pleases. She's left speechless, drooling slightly, as he snaps the cookie in half and smiles warmly, handing her a piece. Drooling with sparkling eyes, she asks if the cookie is really for her, prompting a request to wipe her mouth. Sitting together, he admits surprise at how serious she got over a cookie, and she agrees quietly. He hands her the cookie, thanking her, and she accepts. He reflects that this isn't something he'd normally do, but something has changed. He smiles warmly, reminding her that a lazy life means enjoying yourself, calling her his star pupil. She listens quietly, then laughs shyly, clearly touched by his words. Night falls as he turns off the lights, and she lies in bed, feeling sleepy after a day full of events. He recalls how Yako-chan came over. They had dinner, shopped for pajamas, and played cards, all of which was super fun. He hopes Manamichi-kun is doing well as she drifts off. She sleeps peacefully, smiling softly, having enjoyed the day as much as he did. He shifts in bed, quietly wondering if she's already asleep. The room calm and quiet under the night sky. She sleeps soundly, completely relaxed and uncovered, prompting a startled reaction as he notices how exposed she is. He worries she's left herself too open. Knowing it's too hot for a blanket but still concerned, he quietly rolls over, flinching at the sudden movement. She stirs, clutching her forehead in discomfort, clearly restless. He glares in frustration, realizing he won't be sleeping tonight as he watches her struggle to find comfort. A week has passed since the sleepover, and the Obon celebrations are approaching. Manamichi Nagoro nervously answers his teacher's call. Admitting he hasn't seen a single homework assignment from Makura Quaro, she presses him, asking how things are going. While he apologizes profusely, despite his apology, she sits calmly, arms crossed, noting Makura hasn't done any homework at all. The teacher hands over the last batch of Makura's homework before Obon. Thanking him, she teasingly mentions a little bird, told her he's been spending every day at Quaro's place, causing him to panic and demand to know who the bird is. She shushes him, refusing to say. She then asks how spending time with Makura is going, and he admits he's been with her daily but failed to make her do any homework. Worrying the teacher must be upset. The teacher asks if he's having fun, and he awkwardly replies that he guesses so. She smiles warmly, happy to hear that, but then questions if they're doing anything inappropriate, which he vehemently denies. Embarrassed, admitting only to having slept in her bed, he sighs in relief, noting she doesn't seem very upset. The teacher asks if he'll visit Makura during Obon, and he confirms he will. She urges him to make sure Makura completes her homework, warning that otherwise she might have to drop out. He silently acknowledges the seriousness of the situation as they stand in the faculty room. The the teacher seated and him standing by the window. Manamichi-kun reflects that they are now in the second half of summer break and they really need to get something done during Obon. He wonders who the mysterious little bird is that told the teacher about them hanging out. Suddenly, a cheerful Yako-chan appears. Greeting him warmly with a big smile and a wave, he is surprised and calls out her name. Yako-chan grins brightly, admitting that love really changes a girl, though Manamichi-kun insists she's just grinning a lot. She notices he's in a good mood today since they saw each other last week. Embarrassed, she asks if she really was grinning so much. Then happily reveals she got a new boyfriend. Flashing a peace sign, he asks what's going on, curious. Yako-chan beams as she explains her boyfriend saves his cigarette change to put toward a trip with her. Calling him really nice, Manamichi-kun asks if she smokes, which she denies. He wonders how she knows he visits Kwaro every day. Clearly flustered. She asks if he'll still visit Kwaro daily during Obon, prompting his surprised reaction. Yako-chan points out that Kwaro's curtains have been open in the mornings, implying she only wakes early when he visits. Manamichi-kun recalls that Kwaro had implied she stayed up late before they started hanging out. When asked what he thinks of her, he hesitates, admitting he's not sure how to answer. He reflects that he's known her about a month, respects some parts of her, but finds other parts way too lazy, yet overall, he seems thoughtful about her. He admits she remains a mystery to him, feeling she might be putting on an act he can't quite grasp. Another voice agrees, calling her a mystery too. He reflects that despite this, she must be happy to have met her this summer. A woman waves off his confusion with a casual goodbye, leaving him puzzled. He wonders if Yako-san knows why Makura never leaves the house. As she cheerfully heads out, he resolves to discover the truth when the time is right, but focuses now on starting his homework. He rings the doorbell and is greeted warmly by Yako-chan, who notices he no longer uses the intercom since he arrives at the same time daily. She playfully asks if he's ready for another lazy day. He urges Makura to start chipping away at her homework, but she protests, joking that her overload alarm is going off from the heaviness of the task. He struggles to stay focused, determined not to be distracted by her antics as they begin their study session. She admits she hasn't started her homework yet, and he insists they should tackle it together. She protests, telling him not to wait for her and to do his own thing. He explains he came to learn the lazy life from her and can't start his homework before she does. She yells that his reasoning is ridiculous. He grins seriously, warning that if she doesn't do her homework, he won't finish his either. She groans in frustration as he asks what she'll do. He thinks to himself that delaying her progress will pressure her, even though he could finish all his homework in a couple of days. She sighs, finally conceding defeat and agreeing to start. He cheers, eager to begin. He reflects that he should have done this sooner, surprised at how easy it turned out. She looks hesitant and shy as he asks if something is wrong. She nervously asks if he'll help her. He agrees, saying that makes it more manageable. She brightens and flips through her homework papers, preparing to get started. She urges him to get it over with, calling him Nagoro-sensei. But he protests that he's not a sensei. She insists, saying she's the pajama-wearing problem student and he's the diligent private tutor who visits daily, so he should teach her all the ins and outs. He sighs, admitting she enjoys role-playing like this, and agrees to look at her worksheets to see her level. She happily hands them over, but he immediately notices the work is far too basic. She recalls her teacher suggesting she brush up on fundamentals first, and he jokes that she's so bad they gave her middle school material. She protests, but he tells her to get started anyway. While he wonders what he's gotten himself into, he suspects she hasn't been doing her homework simply because she doesn't know how. 2 hours later, he glances at her focused expression and notes she's more attentive than expected. She's borrowed his pajamas to concentrate better. He asks about the traveling point in the problem, and she calls him her only nemesis, frustrated. She questions who creates these problems and why a point needs to travel instead of staying still. He admits he doesn't disagree. He points out that point P is traveling at 1 centimeter per second and asks if she can determine the length of AP. She admits she doesn't know how many seconds have passed. He explains that since the number of seconds is unknown, they substitute the length of AP for x. She catches on quickly, realizing the area formula becomes y equals 6 times x divided by 2 equals 3x. She praises him as a good teacher, but he shrugs it off as a basic problem. She slumps over, overwhelmed, claiming her brain is fried and she needs sugar. He reassures her she got the idea and can now apply it to other steps. She flinches but nods, exhausted. She asks him to toss a candy into her mouth since she can't move her arms. He looks on, puzzled, and asks what she's doing. She insists she can't do it herself. He sighs and hands her a candy. She happily eats it, savoring the sweetness. She munches contentedly while he wonders why this situation feels so wrong. She feels better already, praising the sweet sugar. He glances at the pile of completed worksheets and notes she really put in work today. At this rate, they might actually finish everything on time. After finishing many problems, She stretches energetically but suddenly winces in pain. He rushes over, alarmed, asking what's wrong. She admits she's just out of shape from sitting too long. He remarks that staying inside all the time will do that, and she agrees with a smile, accepting it as reality. He watches her with concern, noting she doesn't see it as a problem but worries about her health. She falls silent, and he firmly says she can't keep pushing herself like this. She's surprised as he recalls how in middle school he studied until his back hurt, but kept going until it worsened. He insists she can't ignore these signs and suggests she do some stretches. She nervously asks what else she should do. He proposes going for a walk, explaining that staying inside constantly harms her mental health. She hesitates, questioning if he means going outside. He confirms, saying fresh air will help and a leisurely stroll suits her laid-back lifestyle. She protests that staying inside is her only goal, but he reminds her that spending every minute of her break in pajamas doesn't mean she can't go outside. She wonders why he's so intent on dragging her out. He confesses his worry about her unhealthy lifestyle, fearing it might get so bad she can't enjoy her lazy life anymore. She asks if he's really worried, and he confirms. She sighs but agrees to try if he insists, though she wants to wait for the sun to set before going out. He cheers her on, and as she turns, he starts to say something more. She suddenly declares she'll only go if he joins her, catching him off guard. He agrees without hesitation, and she excitedly suggests getting some early dinner out of the way first. They prepare to head out together, energized by the plan. As she readies herself by the door, he asks if she's ready. She joyfully confirms, raising her fist in excitement. Together, they step out into the night, beginning their secret nightly stroll under the moonlight. She groans, overwhelmed and desperate for sugar as her brain feels fried. He reassures her she understands the concept and can apply it to the rest. She slumps, exhausted, asking him to toss candy into her mouth since she can't move her arms. He asks what she's doing, confused by her helplessness. She insists she can't do it herself, so he reluctantly hands her candy. She happily tastes it, while he watches with a gentle smile. She munches contentedly, feeling better instantly. He notes her progress and the amount of work she's done, glancing at the papers with a mix of surprise and concern. She stretches energetically but suddenly cries out in pain. He rushes to her side, asking if she hurt herself. She admits she's just out of shape from sitting too long. He comments that staying inside all the time will do that, and she agrees with a smile, accepting it as reality. He worries that she doesn't see her sedentary lifestyle as a problem, but insists it's unhealthy. He recalls how in middle school he studied until his back hurt, yet kept pushing himself. Suddenly, he stands and warns she can't keep this up. He tells her she can't ignore these issues and staying inside all the time harms her mental health. She nervously asks what he suggests. He offers to do some stretches, prompting her to start stretching her legs. Then he asks Makura if she would go for a walk. She hesitates, asking if he means outside. He confirms, explaining that fresh air will help her feel better and a leisurely stroll suits her lazy lifestyle. She protests that staying inside is her only goal, but he reminds her that spending every minute of the break in pajamas doesn't mean she can't go outside. She wonders why he wants to drag her out so badly. He admits he's worried about her, warning that her current lifestyle isn't healthy and could worsen until she can't enjoy her lazy life anymore. She sighs but agrees to go if he insists, though she wants to wait until sunset. He smiles, pleased, and she adds there's something else she wants to mention. She insists she'll only go if he joins her, her eyes bright with hope. He reacts with surprise but quickly agrees. She cheers, eager to get dinner out of the way first. As they put on their shoes, he asks if she's ready. She enthusiastically confirms, raising her fist in excitement. Together, they step outside under the crescent moon, setting off on their secret nightly stroll. Worried about Makura's lifestyle, he drags her outside for a walk under the night sky. She stretches and laughs, joking she's a dangerous pajama-wearing criminal for being out so late. He agrees with a smile, glad to be out. He admits he was worried she might have a problem going outside, but she seems fine. She breathes in the fresh air happily and suddenly speeds up, prompting him to ask why. She peeks around a corner with a bright expression. She excitedly points out the empty playground. Eager to have fun there, he asks what kind of fun she means. She suggests the swing, recalling how much she played on it as a child. He agrees it's a fair idea. She jumps on the swing, shouting she's the wind as she swings high. He warns her to be careful, shocked when she says she used to jump from the top and made it over the railing. She insists it was easy and maybe she still can do it, surprising him. He panics as she swings wildly toward him, questioning where her supposed out-of-shape condition went. He scrambles to avoid being hit, shouting for her to stop before she hurts herself. She grimaces, frustrated but still swinging. She throws her arms up joyfully, shouting off. As she leaps from the swing, he watches in shock from below, stunned she actually jumped over the railing. She lands awkwardly, and he immediately warns her to watch out. She stumbles forward, caught off guard by the landing. The night sky looms over the quiet playground. He rushes to catch her as she falls, calling out in alarm. She collapses against him, clutching his chest tightly while he strains to support her weight, breathless and concerned. He winces, admitting the landing wasn't graceful. Relief floods him as he acknowledges catching her just in time. Holding her close, he notices how slim, light, and soft she feels in his arms. A sudden, shy pull from her makes him wonder if this is what girls feel like. He wrestles with uncertainty, unsure if she wants him to drag her out or let her live freely. Resolute, he tells Makura they need to talk and that this discussion can't be avoided. He explains her remedial program requires an obligatory exam at school in late August, which can't be taken at home. She sighs but agrees to take the exam, determined not to waste her homework. Her spirits lift as she vows to aim for full marks, earning his enthusiastic support. He admits he wishes it were that simple, but she erupts in defiance, refusing to let the school control her life. He reminds her that without passing the exam, she won't advance, and she struggles with the harsh reality, clearly resisting. She questions how to avoid the exam, sarcastically wishing all exams could be eliminated. He points out she can either comply or rebel. Suddenly, she declares a challenge. A duel with the principal for her advancement. Slapping a written challenge into his hand, daring him if he wants her to drop out sooner. She admits he's right with a frustrated sigh. While he considers that she neither wants to go to school nor be held back a year, she wonders if her reluctance is inability or just hesitation. Suddenly, she brightens and declares she needs an official excuse, surprising him. She insists she just needs to start making money to avoid school, arguing they can't force her to attend if she has to work. He questions how she plans to earn money, and she playfully dumps the responsibility on him, calling him the brains of the operation. She claims she can lower her happiness threshold, which leaves him baffled. She imagines a simple life with just food, a roof, a bed, and a window to watch the sunset, declaring she wouldn't ask for anything else. He thinks of her as a hermit, the father of all slackers. She smiles, confident she'll never get bored, even with just one set of pajamas and internet access. The scene shifts to a cozy room with someone sleeping under a warm blanket. He reflects that a life away from the busy world sounds cozy. Like a warm blanket, he acknowledges she'd still need money for basic expenses and admits that idea might not be so bad after all. She grins, and he recalls thinking of her as someone who slacks off in pajamas but is also good-looking. He imagines her as a pajama model, feeling conflicted about even suggesting it. She asks if he has something in mind, and he nervously denies it, overwhelmed by the thought. She considers a regular part-time job, like working at a convenience store, but doubts anyone would allow her to man the register in pajamas. He laments his lack of ideas, questioning the purpose of his studies, then awkwardly invites her to play games, offering to grab a controller. He wonders if live streaming his games could work. Recalling that people make money doing that, she repeats the term "let's plays," and he grows excited, convinced it's a perfect solution. She suggests showing his face alongside the game screen to attract viewers. Noting he looks good enough to gain many, he realizes this is exactly what she wants, but quietly admits he doesn't think he can stream, smiling softly as she thanks him. He reacts with surprise when she asks why not, and she admits she's not great at commentary. She urges him to just play like he always does for her. Saying she enjoys watching him, he wonders what she's hesitating about. Convinced this is a great opportunity, he points out it would give her an excuse to stay in her room all day, which she quietly acknowledges. He presses on, but she confesses she can't put herself out on the internet. The clock shows time passing as she sits silently, struggling with the idea. Though she agrees it's a great suggestion, she apologizes, clearly conflicted. She clenches her fists and admits she could never live stream games, feeling she has nothing fun to talk about and that her face wouldn't attract viewers. He insists she has all the potential, but she remains silent, weighed down by doubt. She finally bursts out, declaring she has her own reasons for refusing. Her expression is strained and emotional as she apologizes to him, leaving him standing quietly in the room, absorbing her words. She admits even an air purifier can't lift the heaviness she feels, asking if he wants to come back tomorrow instead. He agrees, carrying a bag as he leaves, telling her just to air out the room before then. The room falls silent after the door closes. She struggles inwardly, realizing she's crossed a line. Though he was serious for her sake, she can't let go of the past. Fear grips her. What if he no longer wants to hang out after this? She quietly apologizes, overwhelmed by regret. Standing outside a cram school, he sighs, confessing he doesn't feel like self-studying. He reflects on how awkward it was being in a room with someone and wonders why it happened. Suddenly, a woman calls out to him, surprising him. The woman greets him cheerfully, teasing him about looking down after being dumped by Kojiro. He denies it, shocked by her assumption. She insists he looks like a lost puppy and wonders if he's seen his own face. He wonders if he really showed his feelings that much. He insists they're not dating, so she couldn't have dumped him. Though he can't imagine looking cheerful, she presses him about Kojiro, and he hesitates before grabbing her wrist. She cheerfully suggests a nearby bench and urges him to share his troubles. He's shocked and protests, but she insists she can't leave him alone if Kojiro is involved, pulling him along. He struggles to keep up, overwhelmed by her strength, and wonders if he can escape this situation. She knows Makura better than he does. He resolves to get some answers. Sitting on the bench, she hands him a snack and tells him to eat and explain everything. He nervously begins recounting how he showed up at her place today as usual. He recalls telling Makura about the exam at the end of August, which clearly upset her. She suggested finding a job to skip the exam, but refused due to personal reasons. The mood turned awkward, forcing him to leave for the day. She comments on his cluelessness about the world, which he questions if it's a compliment. He remembers she called him clueless when they first met and wonders what makes this time different. She hesitates to share more but insists Kwaro has enjoyed her time with him, visible on her face. She wants neither of them to end things badly and offers to give him a hint, which he agrees to. He reads an article about an idol group called the Seven Dwarfettes or 7D. Focusing on their center suddenly retiring, he questions the connection and why someone with so much potential would refuse to go outside, something that never made sense to him. The memory unfolds of Kwaro shining brightly as the center of a nationally famous idol group, her energetic performance captivating the stage with sparkling lights and a huge screen behind her. The image emphasizes her radiant presence and the group's synchronized energy, highlighting the significance of her role. The focus shifts back to the present, where the girl beside him calmly states that very few people would fail to notice Kwaro's situation. He looks down at his phone, absorbing the weight of her words as she explains why she called him clueless about the world. He stares at his phone, realizing why he was called clueless about the world. The girl's words echo. Very few people would miss Kwaro's situation. He admits he's clueless, unlike everyone else who knows Kamakura Koyuna, except for those like him who avoid TV, magazines, and social media. He questions if Kwaro's quitting the idol group is why she refuses to go outside. The girl confirms this is likely and mentions streaming games online would also expose her. She leaves him to figure things out, while he reflects on spending half the summer break together yet knowing nothing about her. He reads about the Seven Dwarfettes, a 7-person idol group rising rapidly from the indie scene to become one of Japan's top groups. Kamakura Koyuna was essential to their success, proving herself an expert dancer, singer, and performer. Her cheerful attitude toward fans will surely break many hearts with this news. He recalls that Makura was an idol, explaining her sporty nature and singing or humming to herself. Shocked, he can't believe it's the same person. Looking at a photo, he notices her smile is the same one she used during her idol days, confirming her identity. 2 years ago, she suddenly retired from the group without any final performance or update. Only a brief statement from management was given. Leaving the topic unexplained, her disappearance still shadows the group wherever they go. Something bad must have happened, explaining her long refusal to go outside or be seen online. He groans, realizing he stepped on a landmine with his assumptions. Lying back, he wonders what he should do next and what he truly wants. Then, recalling their earlier conversation, he considers summer festivals but admits it would be strange to attend in pajamas. When they first met, Makura was already struggling but tried her best to enjoy life. Despite his focus on studying, he envied how brightly she shone. Now, he answers a phone call, politely ordering just 2 items. Determined to help her, he refuses to let her lose her cheer. Typing a message to suggest a trip tomorrow, he anxiously waits for her reply. Relieved when it finally comes, he wonders if she should be asleep yet, hoping she will respond for both their sakes. Manamiki-kun sits on his bed, reading messages on his phone. He hesitates, asking why a trip is suggested. The reply invites him to the countryside where he can stay in pajamas. He smiles, recalling their promise to enjoy summer break more than anyone else. Doubt flickers as he wonders if it was too cheesy and if she would really agree. A message pops up, enthusiastically calling him a student of hers. He blushes, questioning why he's yelling, then shouts, "Let's go!" with renewed excitement. Night falls over the city as he resolves to get ready for tomorrow. The next day, Manamiki-kun nervously arrives early at the meeting spot. Admitting he didn't sleep well, suddenly, a familiar voice calls out to him, catching him off guard. Kamakura Koyuna appears, cheerfully waving and wearing the matching pajamas they bought together. She asks how she looks, and he thinks she looks pretty good, noting how the black cap and sneakers complete her sporty look. He reflects that it's no surprise, considering she's an ex-idol. Manamiki-kun admires how effortlessly she can pull off almost anything, but he worries she might find out he knows her secret. She insists that her sporty outfit still counts as pajamas, and he agrees since they bought them for home use. She wonders if she should have brought his matching pair, but he nervously points out they'd look identical. She grins mischievously, asking if that's a problem, causing him to blush deeply. They hurry toward the train station gates, with her urging him to move faster as the train will arrive soon. He calls out for her to wait. The train speeds along the tracks as they sit inside, enjoying the rattling and snacks. She raises her fist in excitement, feeling like they're truly on a trip, while he smiles quietly beside her. An announcement tells passengers to prepare to exit at the next station. She asks if that's their stop and what the plan is after they get off. He admits they're 2 hours early for their lodging check-in at 3 and hasn't figured out much else. She points out their destination outside the window with a cheerful smile, ready to start their adventure. She shouts excitedly that they've reached the beach, her face glowing with joy under the shining sun. He warns her she'll get soaked, but she brushes it off, eager to have fun now that they're here. She playfully splashes water at him with a spirited hi-ya, and laughs at her perfect aim, while he stands drenched and stunned. She teases that if he lets his guard down, he'll get soaked again, calling him like a kid. The water fight escalates as she splashes him again, declaring he started it first. He dodges skillfully, amazed at her agility as they chase each other through the shallow waves. She reminds him she's athletic, then splashes him once more, catching him off guard. He falls back into the water with a surprised shout, and she checks if he's okay, both catching their breath after the playful battle. They laugh together, carefree and joyful, standing in the shallow sea as the sun shines above. One hands the other a towel, a quiet gesture of care amid their laughter. She thanks him for the towel, admitting she forgot to bring one. He grins, claiming he started the water fight, and she agrees, saying it only made everything better. They lean on the railing, watching the sea, feeling the moment's warmth despite the wet clothes. The breeze feels nice as they gaze at the vast ocean. He reflects on how much has happened this summer and how it's almost a shame it will end. She asks what he's thinking about, curious. He explains, nerdily, how far the horizon is, using math and the Earth's curvature, causing her to show her irritated skin reaction to his numbers. She admits she's bad with numbers but appreciates his intelligence, while he watches her quietly from the railing. She pouts, insisting this doesn't feel like a date. He panics, shouting that it is a date since they came to the beach and will stay at an inn next. His mind spins, realizing it truly feels like a date despite his intentions to just help her. Nervously, she asks if she misunderstood, and he vehemently denies it, declaring this is definitely a date. She suggests they should talk about something date-related, while he struggles to respond. He awkwardly compliments her, saying the sea is beautiful but not as much as her. She stays silent, blushing, then asks if he has any other ideas. He cringes, wishing for it to end but quickly insists that was a pretty date idea. She admits her idea isn't much different from his. She nervously mentions that people express their love on dates, asking if that's right. He notices a new expression on her face and wonders if he should confess his feelings. His heart pounds as he questions what love really means and if he should tell her how he feels, especially since she brought it up. She calls out to him hesitantly, her voice trembling with surprise. His heart races as the realization hits him. Makura likes him. The shock and disbelief flood his mind, leaving him stunned and overwhelmed by the unexpected confession. She nervously asks if people express their love on dates. Seeking confirmation, he freezes, shocked, questioning if she means expressing love to him with words. Both blush deeply, stunned by the implication. He stammers, unable to respond properly, while she laughs and admits she was joking to tease him. He recalls how his math explanation made her skin crawl, so she thought he deserved some payback. She grins mischievously, asking why his face is so red. He protests, saying he thought she was serious, not joking. She laughs, calling herself a great actor, and he admits a part of him liked her talk about the horizon. She praises his ability to put the world into numbers, saying it's really cool. He feels respected. Realizing this might be the first time he's been complimented like this, an old man passing by comments on how sweet they look as a couple, startling them both. Panic strikes as they realize the old man misinterpreted their bickering as something more. They stammer to clarify they're just friends. While the old man insists they look good together, the girl blushes, touched by the comment. But the old man quickly tells them not to mind him and wishes them a good time. They quietly watch him leave, speechless. The boy immediately denies any romantic feelings, flustered by the awkward situation. The girl admits it was unexpected too, but jokes that they shouldn't mind the compliment. He wonders why he blurted out his feelings so suddenly, leaving them both embarrassed. The boy nervously asks if she minds, but she confidently accepts, Teasing him with a sly smile, he admits it's fair, and she laughs it off, saying she doesn't see why they couldn't look good together. They share a light-hearted moment, easing the tension. The boy wonders if she truly wouldn't mind dating, apologizing for asking. She shyly says no problem, then reflects that he's the first person she's talked to in a while besides another friend. She notes he hasn't gone outside all summer, which explains his quietness. He looks over at her, curious as she quietly wishes for something more. She reflects on how nervous she felt moments ago, her solemn expression lingering in his mind. He wonders if her anxiety is connected to her idle activities, and hopes to learn more about her during this trip. They arrive at a traditional inn, and she exclaims in delight at how nice it is inside. The room gleams with cleanliness and warmth, inviting them in. She expresses her love for tatami rooms in traditional inns, happily flopping down and savoring the sweet smell of tatami. He warns her not to get too relaxed or fall asleep already, as she nearly starts drooling. Sitting at the table, they discuss the reason for coming here. She reveals a flyer for a fireworks festival, surprising him as she points out the event's location. Clearly excited about the upcoming celebration, he suggests crossing off another summer activity by going to the fireworks festival, and she eagerly agrees but hesitates, feeling uncertain about her pajamas. He asks if she thinks her pajamas are inappropriate, and she quietly admits she does. He reveals he has a solution for her concern, surprising her as he pulls out yukatas. She reacts with excitement and curiosity, asking if they're yukatas, and he confirms with a smile. She learns that the inn is a hot spring area where people often wear yukatas to see fireworks, and that yukatas can be slept in, making them essentially pajamas. This means she can enjoy the fireworks in pajamas without breaking her rules or feeling out of place. She thanks him sincerely for planning everything. He reminds her there won't be dinner at the inn, so they'll eat at the festival. He reflects that he booked the first inn he found but is glad she's happy. She holds the flyer with a soft smile and blush, quietly affirming she's ready for the trip as the traditional inn stands before them. The bustling festival night is alive with the sense of yakisoba, takoyaki, carriage, and cotton candy. She playfully declares he can run but can't hide from her. While he nervously asks if she plans to try everything, she proudly admits she's descended into the lowly realm to indulge in the food of the masses. While he questions if leaving the second floor of his apartment counts as a dramatic descent. He watches her with admiration, admitting she looks good in that yukata. She continues enjoying her treat, the night air filled with the glow of festival lights and blooming flowers around them. The crowd thickens as they move toward a better spot for the fireworks. She asks if something is on his face, causing him to flinch and deny it. He worries about getting separated in the crowd, realizing there are a lot of people and wondering if he should take her hand. He quickly dismisses the thought, wondering where it even came from and deciding to just keep an eye on her. As she tugs gently at his yukata, his expression shifts with surprise and a hint of resolve. She nervously admits she doesn't want to get lost, holding a candied apple as she looks down shyly. He turns in surprise, stammering in response, caught off guard by her sudden confession. She tugs gently at his yukata, explaining she just wanted to hold on to him for no reason. He laughs nervously, wondering if the festive mood is affecting her, and agrees to walk slowly to avoid getting separated. She remains quiet, clutching the candied apple tightly. He carries their food, suggesting they find a spot to watch the fireworks, and asks if they need drinks. She agrees quietly. Suddenly, he grabs her hand firmly, urging her to hurry, but she shivers in response, hesitant and overwhelmed. Noticing her cold, trembling hands, he asks if she's okay. Growing concerned, she gasps as she accidentally bumps into a stranger, dropping her candied apple, which startles both of them. A man apologizes to a young woman in a yukata for not looking where he was going, calling her pretty. She nervously avoids eye contact as he asks where she's from. The man waves to his friends, calling out to them and announcing a beauty has arrived, drawing attention from a nearby crowd. The crowd murmurs about the girl's beauty, debating if she's the prettiest face they've seen. Some scold the man for being drunk before the fireworks even start. The girl smiles awkwardly, clearly not wanting to be noticed. A young man worries silently, realizing she dropped his hand when she bumped into the man, and now a crowd has gathered around her. A bystander asks if he's seen her somewhere before, causing her to flinch. The crowd questions if anyone knows the girl, with one man mentioning he's into idols and that she looks like one. The young man suddenly pushes through the crowd, urgently asking if she's all right. The girl stumbles, overwhelmed by the situation. She falls to the ground with a heavy thud, prompting the young man to call out her name. He urges her not to get up too quickly and insists they need to leave. Concerned bystanders call for medics as he supports her, determined to get her out of the crowd safely. He realizes she never wanted to draw attention or even be seen, But he thought the worst would be awkwardness. Doubt creeps in. Could the problem be far more serious than he imagined? Determined, he tells Makura to hold on tight. She looks surprised as he swiftly wraps an arm around her, pulling her close. Cradling her carefully, he carries her away from the crowd. She clings to him, overwhelmed and silent. Her voice breaks the quiet as she calls his name, Manamiki-kun, filled with a mix of relief and surprise. He catches her in his arms, calling out her name urgently and telling her to hold on tight. She gasps in surprise as he dashes away, carrying her swiftly through the crowd. She panics, asking where they're going. But he admits he has no idea. He pants heavily, determined to get somewhere without people. She clings to him silently, her expression softening as she grips his yukata. They reach a quiet spot under the night sky. Both breathing hard, he steadies himself, explaining he's just testing the limits of his cardio. She asks if he's okay, concerned. She checks on him and he asks if she's all right too. She smiles warmly, thanking him sincerely. Then, hesitantly, he asks if he can ask her something, leaving the moment open and uncertain. He asks why she stopped going outside, but she avoids the question, replying with no particular reason. He admits he wants to get to know her better, not necessarily her story, but to see if he can help her. She hesitates silently, and he notes how hard it is to keep secrets now. He wonders if her hesitation is because she doesn't want to admit she was an idol, then directly asks if that's why she stopped going out. She reacts with surprise, asking if he really knows about her past. He recalls the moment he found out when he saw a photo of the 7 dwarfettes and realized one looked just like her. He promises to leave out the part where Yako-san showed him the article, not wanting to get her in trouble. She laughs, admitting her cover is blown and that she even tried changing her hair. He acknowledges her popularity and good looks. She warns him not to take the story to the magazines, joking about exaggerated headlines. While he reacts in disbelief at the playful nickname, she gives herself as a blanket monster. She asks if he really knows about her past now. He confirms, saying he figured being an ex-idol led to her current lifestyle. She admits there's no reason to hide it and reveals it all started from her love for idols. A memory surfaces of a cute idol group performing on stage, with a young girl dreaming aloud about becoming an idol when she grows up. Her mother warns her not to sit too close to the TV, but the girl refuses. The narration reflects on how deeply she was into idols, singing every day and signing up for dance training. Years pass as she nurtures her dream, until one summer in middle school, she rushes home excitedly, calling for her mother. She bursts in holding her phone, announcing she passed an idol audition. Her mother reacts with shock and disbelief, while she beams with joy, promising to make her group famous. She dedicates herself to practicing her dances and songs, pushing harder every day. Their audience steadily grows, and she becomes the center of the group, celebrating their first major debut with joy. Everything seems to be going well at first, but a shadow looms. The pressure to always be perfect weighs heavily on her, driven by the adults and fans around them. She must maintain a smile no matter what, wearing wigs and costumes chosen to fit a refined image. She's told to pull off a gyro look and wear a maid dress, all to satisfy producers' demands. As the center, she feels the burden of holding everything together. As the center, she believes she must make everyone love her. Yet, the strain grows unbearable. One day, she stares at her reflection, questioning who she has become and what she was like before becoming an idol. The realization hits that she no longer knows herself. In the summer of her second year, she runs away from that life and quits the group. The center of the 7 dwarfettes leaves, marking the end of that chapter. As she walks away, a man calls out, asking if she is Kamakura Koyuna, catching her off guard. A crowd spots a girl walking alone and whispers excitedly, recognizing her and calling her adorable. The girl, wearing a mask and casual clothes, turns with a startled expression. People shout questions, demanding to know why she quit suddenly. She silently pulls down her mask, thinking to herself that she's no longer an idol and not Kamakura Koyuna. Despite the crowd's cheers and her polite smile, she apologizes and expresses gratitude for her fans. Internally, she reflects on how she couldn't stop being Kamakura Koyuna, how she had been trying too hard to be perfect and liked by everyone, even when it meant doing things she didn't want to do or adjusting herself. Flashing back, she recalls becoming afraid of being seen by people, leading her to isolate herself in her apartment. She remembers the friendliness shown by someone she first met, which must have been genuine. A scene shows her collapsing from panic after getting too much attention, explaining why she shut herself away. The story shifts to a conversation revealing why she chose her particular high school. To get help from a relative, Satomi-chan, who is also her cousin. The girl happily greets them, and the boy realizes why their teacher seemed to know Makura so well. The cousin lives alone and can provide support, making everything clearer now. She explains that Yako-chan moved to the same address because she's friends with Satomi-chan, which makes sense to him. She hoped this perfect environment would help her reset, but going to school remains a big hurdle. Not having a job left her with lots of free time, so she decided to do what she liked. Embracing a slack lifestyle, he pats her reassuringly as she admits she might as well enjoy herself fully at home. She reflects on missing her flashy outfits and settling for pajamas instead. The more time she spent at home in pajamas, the more she stabilized and eventually stopped needing her medication. Deep down, she knew she couldn't keep it up much longer. Then she recalls the moment he barged in, Manamiki-kun. He confirms showing up at her front door and forcing his way in. She admits she was terrified he saw her in pajamas, but his reaction was more than reassuring. She felt allowed to be herself for once, as he said he didn't mind what she preferred to wear or going out of his way for her. She thanks him for that, and he awkwardly replies that he's glad it worked out despite not putting much thought into it. She says she was already preparing to get used to being seen again, so she decided to let him in as her student. She claps her hands, declaring that's the story of her life. While apologizing for using him as a practice dummy, he tells her not to worry about it at all. He realizes the reason behind her pajama lifestyle must have been tough. She smiles gently, admitting it. He bows apologetically for suggesting she stream games, but she reassures him it's okay since he couldn't have known. They walk together under the night sky, and he feels better now that she understands. He wonders if there's anything he can do to help her, while she falls silent, thoughtful. She tells him it's his turn to share. He's surprised but listens as she encourages him. He glances at his phone, deciding it's best to fill her in. He admits he's unsure where to start as he looks uneasy. Fireworks explode brightly above them, drawing their awe and surprise. They watch the dazzling display in wonder, their faces lit by the colorful bursts. She exclaims how pretty the fireworks are, amazed no one else has found this spot. He confesses he was jealous of her, surprising her. He explains his life has been all about studying, shaped by his mother's academic complex, while she listens quietly. She's the youngest daughter of 3, while both her sisters attended some of Japan's top universities. She failed her entrance exams once and only got into a private women's college. Moreover, her dad works for the local city council. One sister married a member of the Diet, and the other is a big-time executive. To put it simply, they always made her feel inferior, so she put all her expectations on me, and I ended up being the last thing that could break that pattern. She made me study from a young age to get back at her relatives and friends. I didn't get to watch any shows, only the news to help with politics later. I didn't get to play with other kids or read manga. Studying was good for my future, but that was good for nothing, so I had to drop those silly books in elementary school. I thought it was normal. Cram school and private tutors covered all 7 days of the week, making sure I spent every possible moment studying. It was only in middle school that I finally caught up. Friends invite me to hang out again, but everyone around me is having so much fun. I wonder why I'm the only one doing something I don't enjoy. In my second year, I even tried to slip away from study hall once. When that realization came, I felt stupid for studying all the time. If it's not studying, then what? English vocab? No. Math problems? No. Then what do I want? Anyway, he couldn't figure out what he truly wanted, so he kept gonna cram school like always. Ever since then, it bothered him that he didn't seem to want anything at all. He was jealous when they first met because she had so many dreams and gave her all to them. She offered to teach him how to be like her, and he thought maybe he could finally change. She taught him that life is about much more than studying. Now, during summer break, he thanks her sincerely, realizing this is the most fun summer he's had. Fireworks burst brightly in the night sky as they share this moment. She blushes at his gratitude, and they quietly watch the fireworks together. The display begins to fade, and they exchange a soft, warm glance, feeling the closeness between them. He admits he's still not like Makura, with part of him bound by studies and not living life to the fullest. He decides today will be different. A small step to finally break away and change. Clutching his phone, he breathes deeply, resolved, as fireworks light the night sky. He tells her this will be his first time skipping cram school. Fireworks bloom brightly in the night sky as he confesses this will be his first time skipping cram school. She turns, surprised, unable to hide her shock. He explains it's too late to go now, and she anxiously asks if he's sure about skipping. He admits the class starts in 10 minutes, but he couldn't stop thinking about it. He recalls how he lost purpose in studying after seeing her try so hard to enjoy life despite her struggles. Laughing together, they tease each other about his criminal act of ditching cram school. He reveals this is just a first step to change, and she happily agrees with a high five. She tells him he's made her feel lighter, like the fireworks above, and thanks him sincerely. He humbly denies doing anything, but she insists she's the one who should be grateful. She feels she can start opening up to people again, and he quietly acknowledges her words. She beams brightly, confessing she had a lot of fun spending the summer together as fireworks burst behind her. He looks up, a soft sweat on his face, clenching his fist as he says he's glad to hear that. The fireworks end, and he wishes the day didn't have to end so soon. He wonders aloud if skipping cram school will get his mom called. Admitting she probably will but not coming all the way here. She worries he'll get in trouble later, but he accepts that as natural. She frowns, overwhelmed by the thought. Turning to him, she asks if he's skipping cram school to regain freedom or to show his mom he's done being a goody two-shoes. He hesitates, imagining telling her the days of forced studying are over, unsure but thinking it might not feel so terrible. He admits he just wanted to escape the endless cycle of studying, and she agrees that describes it well. He confesses he doesn't want to fight with his mom or have her find out about skipping cram school. She taps on her phone, confirming it's his cram school, and invites him to stop her any time as she prepares to call. Suddenly, she makes a call, and he panics, realizing she's pretending to be his mom. She speaks confidently, explaining his son is feeling unwell and won't attend class today. He marvels at her convincing adult voice and wonders if these are skills from her idle days. She asks how she sounded, and he admits she nailed it, still shocked. She smiles warmly, saying they still have the whole night at the inn and no one will interrupt them tonight. He looks surprised but agrees that sounds really good. Later, she drinks from a juice box by a vending machine outside the inn, hoping he enjoys the hot spring. She wishes she could join but feels too anxious about public bathing. She notes there are only 3 hours left in the day and can't remember the last time she counted the hours. She clutches a can, admitting she doesn't want this time to end so soon. The night air stirs as she wonders when she last spent this long outside. The memory surfaces. She had dragged Manhwa into her room to teach him laziness, but somehow he ended up dragging her out instead, and she still doesn't know how it happened. Reflecting on the day, she feels it has made her summer better than she imagined, especially after the heartfelt moment they shared. Though their problems aren't magically solved, she feels content for now. She worries about him, knowing he's bored and unsure what to do besides studying, but she wishes she could help. Suddenly, she notices something exciting on her phone and realizes she must tell him immediately. A sneeze escapes as a chill runs through her, but determination shines in her eyes. Deciding the evening breeze has been enough, she plans to head back inside. She recalls their room is just around the corner. As she walks the corridor, she spots a couple happily chatting about the fireworks and making plans for next year, while she quietly sneaks by, holding her arms close, lost in thought. She startles, thinking the hallway was empty, but then notices a couple walking together and wonders if people assume they are a couple too. She reasons most trips are for couples and recalls an old man already assumed this at the beach. Despite feeling dizzy from the thought, she tries to convince herself it's no big deal since Manhwa spends half his time at her place. Yet, she worries about what might happen if he suddenly got into a special mood far from home. Overwhelmed, she panics internally, scolding herself for such thoughts. She insists Manhwa is serious and they're just friends who slack off together. Still, she feels flustered and uncertain. Meanwhile, he sits quietly, unsure how to respond if she ever proposed something serious. Her emotions swell as tears glisten in her eyes, her face flushed with conflicted feelings. She decides she can't let him see her like this yet and resolves to take more time to calm down. The night sky looms outside the traditional building, emphasizing her need for space. He glances at his phone, wondering why Makura is taking so long to return from getting drinks. He hopes she'll be back soon, feeling nervous as he sits on the neatly made futon, the quiet room amplifying his anxious anticipation. After returning from the festival, their beds had already been pushed together, making the closeness undeniable. He debates whether to pull them apart, but worries she'll notice his thoughts if he does. He clicks the light switch, questioning how the beds look under the nightlight. The beds glow warmly, almost invitingly, but he panics, feeling like this moment belongs in a romantic scene from a story. He clenches his fist, overwhelmed by the situation. Catching his breath, he's relieved she didn't walk in on him fiddling with the lighting. Sitting down, he reflects on how surreal it feels to be on a trip with a girl, wondering if she feels the same floating sensation. Suddenly, she slides the door open, apologizing for taking so long and explaining she was worried he got overwhelmed by a crowd. He's startled, denying there were any crowds, but she teases that he got caught in some couple's aura instead. She offers him a bottle of water, knowing he likes to drink before bed. He accepts with a shy thanks, thinking how attentive she is and wishing he could learn from her. As he drinks, she smiles and remarks that everyone assumes they're a couple. He chokes on his water in surprise. She points out their beds are pushed together, and he nervously agrees. She prepares to sit down, saying, "Well, here I go," which makes him flinch in confusion. They exchange a silent, tense moment, both blushing. He panics internally, wondering what she meant by "here I go," and why she isn't saying anything. She sits quietly, avoiding his gaze. While his heart races, he steals a quick glance at her, feeling overwhelmed. She looks down, cheeks flushed, struggling to find words. Her hands clench nervously in her lap. The tension thickens as she tries to gather courage, her eyes wide and trembling with emotion. Both sit tensely, avoiding eye contact, their faces flushed. His heartbeat pounds loudly as he notices her bright red cheeks and clenched fist. The awkward silence breaks when she tries to speak, but he only responds with a puzzled look. She nervously praises the fireworks, and he quickly agrees, relieved. They share gratitude for finding a quiet spot away from the festival chaos. She jokes about almost calling an ambulance for herself, which he finds hard to believe. She stretches and laughs, admitting her anxiety around others. He asks if she really skipped cram school, and she assures him she's just revising since she already knows the material. He's impressed by her grades. Suddenly, she shifts closer, asking if he knows how to solve a problem. He studies the question seriously and nods, confident it's manageable, while she watches him intently. She wonders why Makura is asking about a random math problem, noting it's meant for the final year of high school but not elite university level. She holds up her phone, asking if he could explain how to solve it. He hesitates, unsure where this is going, but agrees to check it out. She shows him the phone screen, explaining there's a popular app that works as a marketplace for skills. He realizes one service offered is tutoring, meaning he could actually earn money if he wanted. She adds he probably wouldn't make big bucks, but it's still an option. He reflects that tutoring would give his studying some purpose, something he's never felt before. His thoughts reveal he studied so much without knowing why, feeling it was pointless. She points at the screen, having found an answer for him easily. He admits he didn't realize his knowledge could be applied like a cram school teacher. She compares it to being a regular teacher, and he asks when she found out about the app. She says just now while getting drinks. He recalls her saying there's no point to his studying, but she wants to prove otherwise because she truly finds him impressive. She beams, praising how amazing he was at explaining things when helping her with homework. He's at a loss for words, touched deeply since no one has ever said that to him or done something like that before. His clenched fist shows his growing resolve as he realizes he wants to do something for her in return. He remembers thinking about what he could do for her even while in the bath. Now, she tells him she's been thinking about what they should do going forward and wants to talk. She eagerly prompts him to tell her what's on his mind. Studying was once his entire world, but this summer everything changed. He learned to relax and enjoy life for the first time, even finding a purpose for his endless studying. He owes it all to Makura, who greets him warmly, extending her hand. Clenching his fist with resolve, he admits he's been thinking about their future and wants to talk. She eagerly urges him to share, and he confesses his desire to help her too. She smiles, assuring him he has no need to pretend around her since he already knows everything. He reaches out and grabs her hand, surprising her with his earnestness. Holding hands tightly, he asks what if he never leaves her. She's stunned but hopeful, asking if he really means to stay by her side at home and school. He confirms with a heartfelt yes. He suggests she can still earn credit if she comes to school and stays in the infirmary, promising to visit during breaks. He adds they could hang out after school and on weekends, and even skip school occasionally while brainstorming ways to make money. She struggles with emotion, tears welling up as she asks why he's doing all this for her. Holding her hand tightly, she quietly wonders why he cares so much. He smiles confidently, saying it's easy because he can keep learning how to live from her. She looks surprised but hopeful, their hands still clasped. He reflects that summer may end, but he wants to keep enjoying these joyful moments with her as his teacher and himself as her student. She shyly asks if she'll really be able to stay in her pajamas all the time someday. He assures her it'll feel like a lazy summer break that never ends. She laughs, wiping tears away, and thanks him sincerely for the idea. She beams warmly, saying she'd be happy to give it a try with him. He looks moved and a little nervous as she holds his hand. The scene closes on the house at night with her inviting, "Then let's do it." A few days later in the faculty room, a woman slams her hand on the desk, insisting that in the dating market, one must pretend to be cost-effective. She explains that the average salary for men is steadily declining in today's market conditions. A man and a woman sitting nearby look on, the woman questioning what cost-effective means. She continues, declaring that if a man asks a woman her favorite food, she should answer ramen, because then he'll definitely invite her for a second date. The man and woman find the advice somewhat clever but question its validity. The woman then asks Yako-san what she's doing at their school, and Yako-san admits she just pops in occasionally, pretending to do recruitment outreach while technically on the clock. The man nervously adds he has something else to say. The woman warns Yako-san that spending too much time in the faculty room is a bad idea, but Yako-san playfully yanks her, teasing that she knows Yako-san loves having her around. Yako-san protests that those are two separate matters. The man watches them, wondering if they are childhood friends. While the two women laugh and enjoy themselves, Yako-san clears her throat to change the subject. The scene shifts to the man standing before the two women in the faculty room. The woman praises him, saying hats off to Nagoro-kun for showing up at the infirmary. He asks what for, and she smiles, saying it's for Kwaro-chan showing up there. The man smiles quietly, realizing that they are all actually here together. He recalls leaving her place today to submit the last part of her homework, and she said she wanted to come along to see where she'll spend her second trimester. She's currently in the infirmary, considering attending school away from the classroom. She agreed to take her exam there too. When asked how he managed that, he shrugs it off, saying he just helped with her homework, while she grins quietly. She wonders if the trip is unrelated. Noting he seemed to have a grown-up summer, he panics, asking how she knows about it. She reveals she talked to her last night, causing him to call her a traitor. It dawns on him that Yako-san has been feeding her information all along, explaining how Kamada-sensei knew about him hanging out at Makura's place. She laughs off any juicy details from the trip, assuring nothing happened, though she imagines what a guy and girl might do on a trip. He nervously recalls that night when he grabbed her hands and she shook his back. Then they just laid down, talked about the past, and fell asleep. Or at least she did. He stares upward, feeling the moment was wholesome. The woman chides Satomi for acting like a creepy uncle in front of students, warning him not to be creepy since Nagoro-kun can hear him. Satomi blushes, saying the two will make a great couple, which shocks the others. Satomi asks if they're dating now, but they deny it, with one nervously insisting she wouldn't want that. The two women exchange awkward glances, stunned by the suggestion. A woman urges him to consider how he truly feels, asking if he likes her after all he's done for her. His face flushes as he questions himself quietly, wondering if he really does like her. The woman sitting down apologizes for not revealing Kwaro-chan's situation earlier or explaining her own connection to her. Another woman playfully scolds her for meddling, telling her to give them time to arrive. The man reacts with surprise to the apology. The woman explains she only wanted to find a way for Kwaro-chan to graduate, despite her bad jokes, affirming she's a proper teacher. He clenches his fist as he asks why he was sent to help her, suspecting it wasn't just because she forgot to put her name on a test. The woman admits she thought he was the right person for the task and reveals her own ignorance about idols and the world. She adds that she wanted him to experience more than just studying, and he hesitantly asks if she means him. She acknowledges that part of it is true, then points out she noticed he studied so much not because he liked it. She also explains that Kwaro-chan is the opposite of studious and that his simplicity might help her step out of her comfort zone. He admits he didn't realize she did it for his sake too, and she smugly confirms she's his teacher. Another woman accuses her of just pushing the work onto someone else, but she protests, insisting her good teacher act isn't fake. Clapping her hands, she wraps it up with a long story short. Then Kwaro-chan thanks him warmly and says she'll count on him after the break. He smiles, agreeing without hesitation. Outside the school, a cheerful Kwaro-chan greets him by name. He apologizes for making her wait, but she says it's fine since they didn't have to talk long. Walking together, she asks if he likes the infirmary, and he admits he can't say yet, but it seems decent enough. She confirms they're ready to go, and he agrees enthusiastically. She laughs softly, teasing him about looking like he's heading home after club activities, and he asks what's so funny. She explains she slept in her tracksuit last night, which is why she's not in uniform. Playfully, she declares this a pajama offense. He remarks she's still clinging to the pajama-wearing habit no matter what, and she admits it, saying she wants to show a small part of herself this way. He thinks to himself that she's trying her best to overcome past trauma and resolves to support her. They walk on together as he jokes that her laziness is obvious, and she laughs, agreeing he's right. He jokes about how she'll have to figure out taking the exam in pajamas now, and she groans in response. He doubts if she's truly ready but decides to believe in her motivation. She suddenly asks if he's hungry, insisting they can't study on an empty stomach. He agrees and asks what they should get while she hesitates, trying to decide. She nervously suggests ramen, causing him to realize she had that answer prepared in advance. He wonders if her suggestion relates to Yako-san, and she blushes, denying any knowledge about cost-effective girls. His heart races as he contemplates her invitation to ramen after what Yako-san told her. She looks away, troubled and uncertain. While he watches quietly from behind, the atmosphere grows heavy as she struggles with her feelings, and he senses her hesitation. He stands alone, lost in thought, questioning whether he truly likes her after all he's done for her. He admits to being inexperienced and unsure about his feelings, reflecting deeply on the situation. He forces a smile and asks if something is wrong. His thoughts reveal that what he truly knows is he wants to be with her right now. She nervously insists she just likes ramen, nothing more. He agrees ramen sounds good, She beams with excitement when he mentions a nearby place selling takeout ramen bowls, and she eagerly asks if they can go there. He agrees. She laughs happily, her hair flowing as she expresses joy. He blushes, determined to enjoy the time they spend together. As they walk side by side under a bright sky, he reflects that they still have plenty of time to slack off. She asks which ramen he prefers, and he answers Shio ramen. She protests, declaring tonkatsu is the only way.